Hello, welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's Sean Bell. I'm joined by Matthew Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
Dave's not here this week. He's I can't actually remember what his reason is for not being here.
Just wanting a lovely week off.
Just can't be bothered.
He's finally broken.
We all felt like
that.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's had a week off recently except me. Is this something I need to cash in?
Well, yeah, before the end of the year.
Yeah, otherwise you'll lose it.
I suppose, yeah, because it expires, doesn't it? It doesn't carry over.
It absolutely does not carry over now, so you better...
It's absolutely shocking. I'm going to get on the phone to the union, I think. This show is supported by Patreon. If you want to head to patreon.com/TCGS, there's all different tiers. There's bonus podcasts. There's a monthly live show, not a real life one, obviously, but an internet one. But that's basically as good. It's all we get these days, isn't it? Can't go out.
It's better, if anything.
It's better in a lot of ways, yeah.
There's, I would say no awkwardness. There's just less awkwardness. You know, it's perfect.
Yeah, still a bit. Need a bit. Keep you on your toes. And also there's the Patreon producer tier. And every week, the Patreon producers get a little thanks at the start of the show. This week, Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, and Rob Netzban Piggott. Which is, I mean, I feel like we should mix the order up every week. I'm only the host for 1 week.
Yeah, no,
I'm having ideas above my station.
Dave, I don't think Dave will care about that bit.
Do you know? I reckon they actually. I don't know. Maybe they like the reassurance of knowing exactly when their name's going to come up.
I know I do.
Next week, it's totally different. Totally different. You are not going to recognise this section next week.
I think Moomin Biscuit should always be at the start though, because that's the best name.
Oh.
Feedback, Matt.
Yes.
Did we get any?
We had loads.
Hang on. Wait. Well, I haven't been on the show for 2 weeks. I've got feedback.
Oh, yeah, James is back.
Jesus, yeah,
James
sorry, yeah. Go on then, what's your feedback?
Do you have any notes, James?
Yeah, I have got some notes, actually.
Oh, bollocks.
As it goes. I mean, I've got notes for both shows. I mean, the first one... the first one initially had more notes than the second, but then I've cut it down a bit because I just thought, it's just mean-spirited, isn't it? You know, for some of the things, I thought I'll leave that out. I mean, yeah. I mean, for episode, was it 225? That was the first one I was off.
I have no idea.
Probably. Yep. That sounds about right. 225.
Yeah. Say yeah. Just say yes.
I mean, there was one bit. I mean, Matt, you were talking about Detroit, and you just said I couldn't counter your argument. I mean, saying you like something, that's not an argument. It's a statement. Like that was just
a great statement as well.
Yeah. The other one was Sean. I wasn't sure if this was an intentional joke or not. And this is probably something I've missed. You said that you Googled how many ends there are in tomorrow. Was that a joke?
Oh God, yeah. No, that was a joke. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's not me trying to pretend that I don't often Google the spellings of very basic words because I just have, mine just goes blank. But on that instance, that one was a joke.
Okay, just
James,
wanted to check
are all these notes just pulling apart our punchlines?
Mostly, yeah. I mean, for the episode, the last one last week. I've got a quote here. I mean, this is where... I mean, Sean, you said, James put the news together. I'm not having a go, but the cadence is weird. I mean, that does sound like you're having a go. What was wrong with it?
Well, it was just because Cyberpunk was in the middle, and that was, like, arguably the biggest story of the week.
He never does
it. I feel like it should have either been at the top, or we should have built up towards it at the end. Either way, just putting it in the middle seemed strange.
Well, you say that, but you barely covered it. So it's like, it can't have been that important.
Well, it's not my fault if the other guys had nothing to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, the other one that you all skipped over because you were like, oh, this is irrelevant, was the Crunchyroll one. I mean, it was sort of irrelevant. It's not irrelevant at all. It's quite important. Like, for Sony, it's quite important because it's trying to, like, nail down, like, another part of, like, cultural growth that there is at the moment. It's quite a big deal. If it ends up on, like, PlayStation Plus or something like that, it's on that instead. That would be a big thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, well, like a free month of Crunchyroll. Is that what we're saying?
Well, it's better than a free month of Disney Plus on, what's it called? Game Pass.
Personally, I'd rather have Disney Plus, but whatever.
It just must. I mean, obviously, it doesn't bother me because I've already got it. But like, it's great if you haven't. It's got Mandalorian on there. It's got the Star Wars films. It's got Marvel.
Come on. I know. It's great. Disney Plus is fine. I've got no problem with that. But
but you're saying Crunchyroll is better.
No, I'm saying that Xbox teased like some big thing, and then it's like, it's a free month. I mean, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it? That tweet that they put out.
That was a bit rubbish. But I mean, this isn't part of your feedback for the last two episodes, is it?
Okay, we'll move on. Okay. Also, the debate on CBBC versus CITV.
Oh, yeah.
And like, because you were all on the CITV side, which I just cannot understand, because there is just so much good stuff that was on CBBC. I mean, granted,
we're all working class, James.
Okay. Granted, Blue Peter was always rubbish. I always hated that. But come on, Grange Hill, Biker Grove, Maid Marian. I mean, I could go on. I've got a massive
Maid Marian
list
was
here.
good. I'll give you Biker Grove as well. But I don't know. Just broadly speaking,
Thundercats.
Thundercats wasn't a BBC show, though, was it?
Yeah, but it was on BBC.
They just happened to license it.
Mysterious Cities of Gold.
That was good.
I don't know what that is.
Around the World with Willy Fogg. All of these were brilliant.
But when last week we were listing all the shows, it just turned out a lot of the shows we were listing were ITV. So therefore, the
thing is, ITV had Batman the Animated Series, James, and that's still good.
Oh, I was too old for that. So by the time that was on, I had stopped watching children's television.
Oh, I see, you were out boozing it and that. Yeah, okay.
So that was boozing it.
Yeah, boozing. That's what they call it, isn't it?
He was out boozing it.
Big time. All
See,
right, what else?
Okay, two last things. I mean, one thing, I don't understand that whole thing about David not rinsing. I mean, that's just
we've
weird.
got feedback about that.
Yeah, we'll come to that because that's just weird. But I do agree with his dad on people shopping in petrol stations because that really does annoy me.
Yeah, we talked about this on WhatsApp, didn't we? I was clarifying. So, I mean, shopping in petrol stations in and of itself, I don't mind. It's when people use the pay at pump and then go into the shop as well.
I've never seen someone do that. I'd be raging if someone did that. It
fucking kills me, man.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I mean,
are we old? Do you think we might be old?
Picking up a sandwich or like a drink. That's fine. I don't mind that. It's when they pick up like a basket and then start perusing the shelves, and you just think, "Come on, I want to go." It's just ridiculous.
Do you think they do that on purpose? Like, is that premeditated, or they just go in and they're like, "Do you know what? I'm going to fucking treat myself."
I think it's probably that. Yeah, they're probably just thinking I'm going to have a great time.
I mean, you got to let these people live. Do you know what I mean?
No, not on my time. Not on my time.
Right. Go on, what else?
But aside from that, I very much enjoyed the shows. I thought they were great.
Okay, good.
They were good ones. Yeah,
good.
Wow.
What do the listeners think, Matt?
I'm glad we've got through. I mean, I was expecting more. I was expecting more. I can't remember if I dropped any digs in the last couple of episodes. Probably not.
There's always digs, but you just get used to it, don't it?
Probably incredibly well behaved, actually. I mean, we do have feedback on the washing up, but Dave's not here to respond, but we'll cover it anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Joe in Seattle, hi boys. Okay, hold on, David. You mean to say when doing the dishes, you soap up each item, mug, dish, glass, whatever, then you just sort of sloop the soap off with a towel or whatever. You don't rinse off the soap salts with hot water. That's an essential part of washing dishes. The whole way soap works is that you soap something up to dislodge dirt and germs and stuff with slippery soap. Then you wash it away, and the soap and the crud goes down the drain. Your way, the soap and all the dirty stuff is just sort of wiped onto the towel.
Exactly.
When you wash your hands, do you not rinse them? I assume I'm misunderstanding because this broke my brain. Also, as an American, I feel like I must apologise for, cheers, appreciate you guys.
Nothing to apololise for.
No, it's been a great week.
End, it?
Yeah, it's been a great week.
America 2.0 is happening.
That was weird, wasn't it? The whole soap thing.
It's really odd. I mean, I've eaten off his plates before. I'm not so sure now.
Well, never again. Yeah. So it's the towel that the plates probably end up all right, but what state is that towel in?
Yeah,
with all just the germs and bits of food soaked into it.
Yeah, I mean, Jill does the same, and it does my head in. So I would maybe, I wash normally, where you rinse it and then put it on a drying rack, and then if Jill does washing up, I go to grab a glass to have a glass of water, and I've got to rinse the glass out again. It's like, well,
yeah, that's
you
the other thing.
That, and now I can't just grab something and use it. I've got to rinse it, then dry it because you did it your way before. It's an absolute joke.
It is.
But James, I presume you have a dishwasher, don't you, James?
No.
Don't you?
No. I told you I enjoy doing the washing up. Actually, it's it's a type where I can put headphones in and just no one's going to bother me, are they? It's great. Yeah, it's a great.
I'm sorry there, yeah.
It's a bit of peace. I mean, is this like how I spend half an hour on the toilet for basically no reason other than it's a room I can lock myself in and no one can tell me to get out.
It's kind of like that, yeah. Just with more soap, or maybe less soap. Yeah. Who knows? Will Marley, morning, gents. It's more Genshin Impact stuff. This This is the last we're going to talk about it, but
this is a point worth bringing up.
Yeah. Will Marley, morning gents. Without being a knob, a lot of the Genshin Impact discussion and feedback revolved around it being symptomatic of Japanese culture or a problem with Japanese sexualization, etc. It's a Chinese game. Admittedly, it's influenced by Japanese art styles and character designs and so on, but I think it's quite important to be accurate if we're going to use it as an example for social cultural generalizations. I look forward to James's thoughts on his return. That's on Will Marley.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That was bad that we just sort of conflated the two, because I know it's very annoying when people do that. I know James has had to contend with people just assuming he speaks Japanese because he's studied China. It's not the same. It's not the same thing.
Not the same at all.
I mean, James, did you have anything you wanted to add to that discussion, or do you want to move on?
Not really. I mean, I was going to mention that it was, it's Chinese dev. And as the person says there, it's like, who is it? Sorry, Will. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That sounded terrible,
What's
didn't
he
it?
called?
That sounded really terrible. Yeah, no, there are issues there as well with like sexualization and like women and all of those depictions of women and everything in like Chinese games as well, which I don't really want to get to at the moment. But yeah, there are issues there, we can say.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool. Jamie, I'm just listening to your talk on Mario Kart. How does this sound? Hear me out. Mario Kart Horizon, the whole island to explore in your vehicle. Races, challenges, secrets, upgrades, unlocks a lot. Could be amazing if they did it right. What would you guys call it? I think we were talking last week about, or maybe the week before, about what even would the next Mario Kart be? Would it be more of like a Smash Brothers Ultimate thing with just a million karts, a million tracks? But
it would be very good, an open world one. I know, like the same, but make it open world is like the most obvious, boring answer to what to do with a well-known franchise. But
I'll tell you what, Sean, that was my son's idea for Knack 3. He wanted it to be open world. Yeah, that was.
He's probably right. That's almost definitely. Are we getting a Knack 3? I don't think we are we?
No, I don't think so. We'll talk about that later.
That's weird because it's such a huge.
Be excited for that.
That's a tease. I've read this and I didn't think open world, but I thought more of it's like I didn't really play it much, but it was like what was that Labo game where you explore that basic island?
Oh yeah. I forget what it's called, but I know the one you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have classed that as open world, but like an island where you can drive and okay. Well, when I think open world, I think huge living, breathing cities or like a Just Cause and stuff. But I'm thinking more just like a place to explore Playground. And find tracks. Yeah.
Man, I've still got to build that.
Can we call it Mario Kart Open Road?
Oh my god, yes! They absolutely should call it that.
Straight off the dome, that one.
That's great. Thoughts, James?
No, I was just thinking I still have got to build that Labo vehicle thing. It's still there and it's not being done.
It's not going to happen.
You haven't done the robot one either.
I know.
And it's bothering me now because I've got it and I keep thinking it'd be fun to stream making that, but that idea has been given to you.
Yeah.
And you're squandering it.
Maybe I should do it over Christmas. What do you think?
That'd be good. Yeah.
Christmas stream, me getting frustrated with cardboard.
It'd never work. Maybe we just both go on webcam and both do it at the same time.
Like a race? Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awful. Mind you, I've got the camera set up now.
Just be really stressful. We'd just be wrecking it as we go because we're trying to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
No.
I think you should absolutely do that.
Okay, maybe we will.
Sean Thomas, I found the talk about next-gen gaming really fascinating and also a bit baffling this week, or last week. 55 minutes in, hearing Sean talk about imminently owning a Series S, but being unsure if it would run the base Xbox One version of Cyberpunk or an upscaled version, or one any better than its current PC where output is so strange to me, especially when you factor in the chat prior to it, with Cyberpunk still supposed to be launching on the Xbox One, so essentially across the spectrum of 4 Microsoft consoles. I can't think of a time where next-gen launch has been so underwhelming to me, nor so oblique. We are 3 weeks away from the biggest game of the year, and the same professional group of in-the-know gamers don't really know what system to play on for the best experience.
Well, it's easy. I mean, PC, isn't it? That's basically what you do.
Yeah, probably. Hearing your debate, too, about the rules of PS Plus downloads reminded me of my own issues this month. Having looked through the store this month, I was left baffled if certain games I was browsing there were for PS4 or were pre-orders for PS5 or potentially for use across both. After about 15 minutes of Googling and reading small print, I was still none the wiser and gave up. In short, I don't think an imminent new generation has ever felt so flat, incremental or baffling to me. I know COVID has likely played a huge hand in that, but days away from launch, I still think it's not a mess. For me, the benefits of owning a console are that you don't have to deal with this shit. I expect this level of complexity on PC, but consoles are there for plug-and-play instant fun. With all this complexity of entry, the size of the units, the instant storage issues, lack of any new games, and huge day-one downloads being needed, I wonder if Sony, and more so Xbox, are in danger of missing the point of what's ultimately made consoles so successful the past few decades. PS5 controller features aside, it may well turn out to be like Joy-Cons and get utterly ignored by developers. I can't help but feel everything I read about its upcoming gen is convoluted. Or maybe I'm just out of touch. You're all getting a new machine after all. Several of my mates are also getting them too, despite not having good enough TVs to truly see the benefit of it. Perhaps at launch, the new UI, extra frame rate, extra loading times, faster loading times, will justify that £600. It's 450. Hell, even the cost doesn't matter if it puts some kind of positive end on a fairly bleak year when we're all stuck indoors. I just find the communication around PS5, the name convention of the Xbox systems, and the continued confusion of cross-gen play highly telling. I wonder if this is a gen where consoles finally get too complicated for their own good. AAA titles become too expensive, and most studios too expensive for most studios to tackle, and the gaming landscape ultimately has to fundamentally change to still be fun. I think there's loads of good points in that.
But I think it's a very pessimistic way of looking at things, because I don't
Bloody
know.
Hell, coming from you.
I know, that's the thing. I read this and I thought I can't relate to a lot of this, actually. Like, particularly the stuff around like the PlayStation Store and like downloading stuff. It's like, if you own like a PS4, then you can download stuff that are for PS4 or whatever. If you with PlayStation 5, presumably it'll be the same. You know, you can download stuff.
Yeah, well,
that's PS5
but
and
you just
PS4.
said presumably. There it is. Like,
we know that for PS5 you'll be able to download your PS4 games onto it. I don't see what the confusion is.
I think more like you go into store. It doesn't say explicitly this works on this and that works on that. It's all just
Yeah, I think his point is just with the clarity on the store, right? And and whereas the issue with Microsoft is, you're definitely getting the best, smart delivery. You're definitely getting the best version of whatever you're playing. It's just that in this sort of weird interim period, not all games are going to have all versions available. So you'll end up playing the old version on new hardware for a bit. And that is messy. I think it was inevitable for stuff that's only just coming out.
It shouldn't have been, though. It is
weird and it's quite bad. And
if Microsoft had enforced smart delivery as everyone has to use this, that if you want to release on a console, this wouldn't have been messy.
Yeah, but they could have done that.
Exactly.
Because then they might have lost EA or God knows who else, just because anyone who's big enough to be like, oh, I'm not going to bother releasing any games on your shitty console. Then it's just it's a risk. Enforcing that is just a massive risk. So
no, I mean, I read this and I thought, I totally agree. I mean, the whole thing about graphic settings and consoles and what they're supposed to be. I mean, we've heard so many reports the last week or two, and actually arguably since we had things like the PS4 Pro and the One X about settings in games, whether you want frame rate or fidelity or performance or graphics, and then you'll change. Okay, I can do with 1080p but 60 or 4K 30, and for most of them, you kind of left. Well, I feel like it's compromised either way. I want 60 frames or want 4K. I'm scared. So you're playing these games thinking, well, it's not quite there. And for a lot of people who play PC games, they love the tinkering, but there's less tinkering in this because it's really often just two settings. And then for console players who want simplicity and want to know, they bought these consoles because they want simple, they want easy, they don't want to have to bother with drivers and settings. They just want to set it and forget it, just to put the game in and play the best version of the game. Even now, they're like, well, now I've got to decide. I can see. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it's still I can see it being an issue for sure.
Yeah, and to be clear, the Cyberpunk stuff is probably just me being a wanker. If you've got a One X or a Series S or original Xbox One, maybe not so much, but like you're probably going to get a perfectly serviceable version of that game before the next gen upgrades come or whatever. I don't think there's going to be anything wrong with it by the time it comes out.
That's not what we've heard about the Xbox One.
Well, yeah. But the point is, it's just that I've also got the PC sat here. So by being given the choice, suddenly I'm like, well, shit. Actually, which one is going to be better? Probably all versions will be fine, except maybe the original Xbox One.
I'll tell you what bothers me more about all this is like we keep hearing, and this is not just PS5 but Xbox as well. Like about these, like you said, like the compromises of like which option are you going to go for? Are you going performance or is it going to look nicer or whatever? How soon are we going to be seeing like yet another half-step like console from both of these? Like when
3 years?
Like PS5 Pro and like a Series X Pro or whatever. How soon is that going to be? Sooner this time? Because it seems it does. I know this sounds ridiculous because these are supposed to be incredibly powerful machines and everything, but it does feel like they still haven't quite hit what I think people maybe want. I don't know, maybe not.
I don't think it's going to be sooner. I think it'll be longer than last time because even the Xbox One wasn't ridiculously powerful when that came out, whereas it feels like they've really packed these machines with as much as they can to the point where they're massive because they need all the extra space, for airflow and this, that, and the other. And it feels and they're expensive. It sounds like from what we've read and heard that they're losing money on these machines. I feel like these are way more expensive, way more powerful than the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were when we were coming into that generation.
Yeah, the Xbox One in particular, when that came out, it was really criticised, I remember, for being massively underpowered.
With these, like with the consoles that are just coming out, like they're sort of selling the fact that they can do 4K 120 hertz, but they're not in most cases already, and they're not even out yet.
And it's like they can do ray tracing, but they can't.
Probably don't bother most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, because at the moment, I think, maybe the reason we're seeing compromises in these games is because they're not building just for this generation. They're building games which have to work over both. So there's, maybe that's causing an issue.
Yeah, could be.
But also, we can see things like maybe 4K 120 now. On say like Dirt 5 does that, but when we get into the proper next gen games, which are next gen only, I can see the whole 120 frames thing just stopping entirely because then they'll be putting everything they can into making amazing looking games, bigger games, which you couldn't do in previous systems, and suddenly 120 thing might just drop off. Who knows? But yeah, it's interesting. But I have seen a lot of people say, a lot more people in the last week talking about, oh God, it's like a PC, having to change this and change that, and what's the best setting? And I do get that for sure.
Yeah, totally. And it is like I am excited for my Series S to arrive, and obviously by the time this goes out, I'll have it. But I can't really tell you why. Like I said,
I'm well excited. I got rid of my Xbox the other day. And
well, yeah, obviously it's different for you because it's the biggest fucking upgrade you'll have ever seen.
Exactly. This is why I can't wait. And that's the thing, because that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy with the Series S, like in terms of the pricing and everything. Because even if this is like underpowered or whatever, I don't feel like I'm paying a huge amount. Like I'm not paying like £500 or £600 or whatever to to test it or whatever. To see what it's like.
Yeah,
It's still expensive, but it's not like insanely compared with like what we thought they could be.
I mean, should we jump in ahead? Obviously, I know we've got the impressions of the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 in the news. Do you want to just get onto that now, or should we just get the rest of the feedback out?
No, let's get feedback on, because I too have thoughts on the next gen and excitement and stuff. So yeah, let's come to that. Kevin Ligo, read Matt Murray's opinion on ITV. Mr. Murray, go fuck yourself. That's from Kevin Ligo, the director of television at ITV. So I do apologise, Kevin, but
he also says, "P.S. You definitely lost the bet."
Upset him?
I think I said I fuck ITV and I hate ITV and I'm BBC all the way.
Oh right, okay.
So I think it's that. He also said, "P.S. You definitely lost that bet." I mean, Kevin, no.
Again,
we don't need to. Yeah, I know you've forgotten about it, James, because you still need to write him his fucking script.
I know.
You see, this is the thing, Matt. He's just going to forget. There'll be no actual punishment. I mean, I know it'll still internally be upsetting to you.
It will never stop being upsetting.
There'll be no actual punishment.
So just think of it this way: it's always going to be there, hanging over you.
That's the thing.
Point.
It doesn't matter. What you mean? You're thinking like you can cash it in whenever you want. When I'm
at
like
some point,
Matt's like on his deathbed, and then a shadowy figure steps into the room and just slams a script onto the fucking bed. Or
but if I'm on my deathbed,
gets his phone out, films it.
If I'm on my deathbed, James probably would have gone about 30 years previous. So
absolutely, there's no way that I'm going to outlive Matt.
Absolutely no way. Right, Leo, dear TCGS, not a gang. Because we determined or worked out last week whether we're a gang or not.
Very, very definitely not a gang.
A gang with less stabbing. I'm loving the mission to celebrate the Full Nels crew by crowbarring their names into beloved songs. Although, again, Dave said he would have songs ready this week, and he's not here. It's a bit...
Not here.
To this end, I thought I'd help by saying Jack Oven, someone I'm lucky enough to call a friend, though that may change after reading this out, is often referred to as Joven in our social circles. This may make it easier. Or Joven or Joven?
I presume Joven. If it's just a contraction of Jack Oven. Joven.
Joven sounds wrong. Joven.
I thought Jack Oven was a pseudonym anyway. I didn't think it was a real name.
No, it has to be Joven. This may make it easier to immortalise his contributions through song. A specific JT banger comes to mind.
JT, well, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I mean, he said I'm loving it, so I'm joving it.
I'm joving it.
Anyway, keep up.
It is joven.
Keep up. Keep up the podcasting goodness, and happy belated birthday to David Turner. Yeah, happy birthday, Dave, if you're listening.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dave. And happy birthday, James.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
Happy birthday, James.
Mr. Naughty 40 himself.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's a real shame lockdown's happening, because we would have had a mental night on the tiles, wouldn't we, James?
Absolutely, mate.
For your 40th.
Yeah.
Would have been insane.
It would. Yeah. Really would. I mean, listen to James. He's so up for it. It's all right. We'll cash that in when everything's back to normal.
Exactly. Oh yeah. We're gonna have. It's gonna be mad. Well, as soon as lockdown's over, properly over, everyone's got a vaccine. Oh bloody hell! John has emailed in feedback. Hi lads, just want to chime in about the PS Plus stuff in the news last week. I'm a PS4 only owner for the foreseeable future, being a PS Plus member for several years, and have been speaking positively about it because, while much less generous than Game Pass, I've still enjoyed plenty of games on it. But the PS Plus collection and the Bug Snacks decision seems bizarrely mean-spirited. By definition, these are PS4 compatible titles, because that's just how launch is. Whatever the original plan, because that's just how launch is, whatever the original plan. But why deliberately deny them to a PS4 user base? It felt like a very deliberate fuck you, you're not buying a PS5, we don't care about you, in a much stronger way than the expected. They will start to bring PS5 exclusives in as an extra, like there are VR extras, but they're no good to me.
I'm just going to say, this isn't Matt's fault.
No, sorry, I should have proofread this. No, sorry. Perhaps I make economic sense, but it made okay, hang on, I do apologise. Hang on, I'm going to have to edit. But it made sure...
It sure made me not want to bother with PS Plus anymore.
That's the one. That was me, actually, John, before. Yeah, so... The fact that Bug Snacks is PS5 only, although something we discussed on last week's show, has now been cleared up. I think because they said you have to be a PS5 owner to claim it, we were surmising maybe you had to have a console, but I think they've confirmed last week that actually no, you can claim Bug Snacks for PS5 on the PlayStation web store without needing a console. So
you could do that before, couldn't you? Like, because people that had like PS3s or whatever they were doing.
But I just thought with all their changes where suddenly you couldn't get like avatars and stuff on the web store, they might have like made some silly changes. But no, it does seem like anyone with PS Plus, whether you've got a PS5 or not, you can claim this PS5 version of Bug Snacks. So there's that at least.
Still annoying though when the PS4 version exists.
It's
doubly annoying because reviews are out for it and apparently it's very good.
Yeah, it does sound great.
Would have been easier to swallow if it turned out the game was shit, but here we are.
I've got a question, because you talked about this the other day with the other one. Was it Destruction All Stars was the other game that we were doing this with? Okay, so this is going to be free on PlayStation Plus for 3 months, right?
For 2 months.
For 2 months, sorry, yeah. So does that mean if you claim it within those 2 months, even after the 2 months, you can still play it for free, or is it?
I think so. Yeah,
you can only play it.
It's not a Nintendo thing,
right? Okay, so it's not like if you. Yeah, so it expires after that time and you have to buy it or something.
Yeah. Pretty much. I remember, because I remember when Fall Guys came to PS Plus and they were like, oh, it's on PS Plus for 1 month. And suddenly, and I had the same reaction where I was like, oh, so does that mean once that month is over, you don't have it anymore?
And you've got to buy
it. And I don't know why I thought that, because, it's the same as any other PS Plus game, isn't it? It's just, you can claim it within that month. And then once you claimed it, that's it. So,
so Bugsnax is a launch title, isn't it? It is.
It is.
Yeah, so that's another freebie. Yeah. So on PlayStation 5, we'll have that Astro's Playroom, which apparently is like an 8 to 10 hour, freebie that showcases the functionality of the controller and the PlayStation 5. That's free. We've got Bugsnax, which is free. We'll have like the PlayStation Plus collection or whatever. That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, there's
when
stuff
is
there.
Sackboy out? When is Sackboy coming out? Because I've not seen any reviews for that, and I've got that on pre-order because I really want it, but I don't know if it's...
launch, isn't it?
That's what I thought, but I've not seen any reviews yet, and I thought they would be by now, but maybe not.
Guess not. To be fair, it makes sense to just let the Xbox come out and then start dropping embargoes for PS5 stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess.
It says here it comes out on the 12th. So,
okay.
But it's... Yeah, because they've said it's still a launch title, but they delayed the online co-op.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's launching without online co-op.
So online co-op is now coming end of 2020.
Yeah, which sounds bad, but to be fair, does it matter? It's not the sort of game you. I don't think anyone was like gagging to play online.
See, right? I saw that and I really don't care because I'm going to play that with my son, like locally. I'm not going to be thinking I need to play that because how many other people are going to have PS5s at the moment anyway? It's like
there is that. I mean, but it's on PS4 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, to be fair, I'm showing my privilege because obviously lockdown is a thing and people might not live near people that they can play it with. So maybe it is a total
that's true
for some people. But but it didn't strike me as an online focused thing. It very much looked like a local play.
But it's it's coming by the end of this year anyway, isn't it? And
it is.
We're in November now. It's like you're thinking it's probably not going to be that far away.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But it is weird. The fact the console comes out on the 12th, which is 12th in America, which is when Thursday, and there's no reviews yet. So, I know you're excited about it, and I'm kind of thinking if the reviews are half good, I might pick it up. It looks like it could be a fun game. That I want something else to play.
It's all right.
Colin Ross Wilson on Twitter.
Hey.
As he says here, I just want to give Matt an apology. As you may know, I'm a very positive person and also I'm some man. However, on Sunday's stream, I was very negative about you and your gameplay. I could go into why this was, but I won't, as it distracts from the apology and may sway people to thinking I may have been fully justified in my manner. It is, however, unacceptable. Matt, I'm sorry it will not happen again. Appreciate you.
Cool.
Thanks, Colin.
Is it cool? Sorry, that's not really my call to make, is it?
I'm not sure if I will accept that apology. I'm still thinking it over. I'm just thinking over, Colin. Right, just gonna think about it because Sunday's stream there was some negativity in the chat which I didn't appreciate.
What was he saying?
Oh, you're rubbish at this. I can't watch this again. Why do I waste my Sundays? You're pathetic.
He does every week, so
I mean, most of that was true, sure, but it's just hearing it. I don't want to hear it. Thanks, Colin. I'll think about that. Rector Reese, we're going to end with Rector Reese. Not a question, but I'm going to straight up beg Sean for a ridiculous news intro while the boss is away.
I mean, you might be disappointed. It's not a ridiculous, gross, long one. That's the episode title. Accident. That was good. That was good. James, can you please deliver this week's gaming news with just the blatant, sheer fucking desperation with which Donald Trump issues spurious legal challenges about election results?
So what you want me to do, Sean, is you want me to sort of shout in all capitals all the headlines of the news that have happened this week?
Every headline, I want everyone to just be like, oh, for fuck's sake, mate, just leave it. Just get over it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you do it? I like to hear you shout everything.
I'm not going to do that because I don't want to.
Look, we had the mini chief. That's the only voice we're ever going to get James.
Yeah, you're not getting any shouting or anything like that.
And don't get me wrong, we cashed it in at the right point,
the right
moment.
We made the most of it. We jumped on that.
Our one go, and that was it, and it was worth it. But we'll never get James to do another funny voice.
No, it's not going to happen. No. But you see, there's a bit of a change to the news because something has just happened that I thought. Don't get too excited. This is just
something's just happened right now, James.
Yeah. This is just
breaking news.
Yeah, well, it happened at 8 p.m, which is
shit.
Not too bad.
Oh my god.
This is not even big news. This is just, there was that whole thing about Spider-Man and like transferable saves and how you couldn't. Well, now you can. You can transfer the PS4 one to the new one.
Brilliant.
To the remastered one. So there you go.
I mean, cool. Trump's out. COVID vaccine's on the way. You can transfer your Spider-Man save to the fucking whatever it is, deluxe edition. It's all just 2020 is all right after all, isn't it?
It's all coming up fine.
It's fine.
They fix it. I mean, I presume they did that because everyone's kicking off. But yeah, it's nice that it's been done. They said the patch could be done end of November or something.
They said it. It says. They said, we heard you. In an upcoming update for Spider-Man PS4, we will add the ability to export your save to Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. This update will also add the 3 new suits from Remastered to the PS4 game. We expect to bring you this update around Thanksgiving.
I mean, that we heard you is strange, isn't it? Because like, what did they not think this was going to be a problem? And then when everyone reacted badly, they went like, "Oh, what? Oh, wow, everyone's upset. Why is that?"
Can't believe they want to have their save in the game that we've kind of made nice.
Charge them another £80 for. I don't know. Strange, but I mean, whatever.
Cool. Yeah,
good that they're doing
that's great news. I mean, I have pre-ordered Miles Morales, but I haven't pre-ordered the 80 or the expensive version, which comes with the remastered version of Spider-Man. So
I mean you don't need
played it.
The remaster, do you? Yeah, I know. We've all played it, so it's all right.
True that.
Okay. There has been other news because obviously there's been like reviews have hit for the Xbox Series X, the S, and the PS5 as well. I thought, maybe what we can do is we could look at the critical consensus that there's been over this because there's been like different viewpoints from all different sort of magazines and magazines that there aren't even magazines anymore.
Magazines,
what we're talking about.
Magazines. No one reads them, mate. Like Grandad.
Websites and YouTube influencers and that kind of thing.
I'll tell you what, though, James, that just made me sad. That just made me sad because one of the best things about a launch is in that launch month buying sort of the official Xbox magazine, official Nintendo magazine, official PlayStation magazine, whatever. That was like, because even though we've got the internet, it's just nice to have that thing that celebrated launch and all the titles.
It's good, and it's like what's coming, like what all the accessories do. It's, Major Nelson is no replacement for that. It really is.
And so there is still an official PlayStation magazine, isn't there?
There is,
yeah.
But there's not. That's it.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. Because I subscribe to Edge, and
me too.
It's really nice being a subscriber because it just appears once a month, and every month you've kind of forgotten about it, and then you're like, "Oh, that sounded like some heavy post," and you go through into the hallway, and you're like, "Oh, fuck me! It's a really nice magazine with some Xboxes on it."
I get the digital version of it, which is obviously not quite as nice because you don't, it's nice to have some paper and all that kind of thing. It's kind of great, but it still is nice. I sometimes just think, "Oh, open up the app for that and read a feature," and they usually really well written and great, and it's
good fucking magazine.
Yeah, it still is. Anyway, do you want to hear the review?
The magazines have
consensus?
not given us any information, but the websites have given us lots of information, haven't they?
Yeah. So I think we'll do the Series X stroke, one of those S.
Oh my god!
First, I'm having a stroke. Anyway, it's not good. Anyway, who cares? Okay, so anyway, the general review consensus is positive, although it's not unqualified. Like that's generally across the board. It's kind of like that. And in terms of hardware and software, the Series X in particular basically just delivers everything that Microsoft said it would. And the main thing that people really like is they said quick resume is like a big highlight and it works very well where available. I was shocked when I find out that isn't just universal. It's like developers have to support it. And that really did surprise me because I just thought it was an OS feature that, was one of the big things, but apparently not everything.
Yeah, and also some people in the reviews, I think, were saying they had some issues with it sometimes, and then I saw a tweet from, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a guy from Xbox who's got a massive long beard. Does that ring a bell? It's like a famously long beard. And he basically tweeted saying they've had to disable quick resume for some titles because the experience wasn't up to scratch. So
okay,
yeah.
So there was that, and then I mean the compelling. Basically all of them said that there wasn't really at the moment like a massively compelling reason to upgrade because of the lack of games. Like one of the big things that most of them talked about was the fact that there isn't like a killer app here, like for the new Xbox, and like Game Pass, although brilliant, is not deemed quite enough yet as being like a reason if you already own an Xbox. Like if you've got one, there's not really much of a reason. I mean,
unless your Xbox is fucked and doesn't work, obviously, James.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the issue I had, yeah. But then the other disappointment that some people said was that is the whole thing about the OS and how it's just completely the same as the Xbox One. I mean, that's not a surprise because we were told that. But you know how people often, they want something new. You know, it's like you want something, you switch something on, you want it to be a bit new. I mean, people are often now comparing this to like mobile phones. As like when you get a new mobile phone, you just continue off where you where you left off.
Yeah, it's still just going to be Android or iOS.
But it's not really true though, is it? Because whenever you buy like a new iPhone, like if there's a brand new one that's just come out, it usually comes around the same time as an OS update as well. So there still is new stuff. There's still new stuff that you can sort of play around with or whatever. And so that was one of the sort of slight disappointments, I think. The Series S though has got praise, like quite a lot of praise. They said for like price and performance, with the one big caveat being the usable space on the SSD. Because 364 gigabytes is not a lot, particularly when, as everyone keeps saying, Call of Duty takes up like 110 gigabytes or whatever. So
people really love pointing that out.
Yeah, they do.
Of course, it's a very relevant example because statistically, quite a lot of people play Call of Duty, but I don't. Yeah. So I don't care, and I don't want to hear about it. It's been fascinating looking at reactions to the Series S, hasn't it? Because it's like most decent outlets are just like clearly it's amazing value for money. Yeah. However, these are the compromises you need to be aware of. So storage space, and of course the screen resolution doesn't look as nice. But also there's some that are just like, here's why I'm not buying the Series S. Yeah, it fucking sucks, and it's just like, guys, like we know it's worse. Of course it fucking is. It's 200 quid cheaper. Yeah, and it's just this sort of interesting divide between, like, I don't know, I feel like, so people who cover phones, for example, have been aware of this for a number of years now, where any new range of phones is going to have, it's going to have your full-on flagship, and then there's going to be other, quote-unquote, lesser ones. But ultimately, it's because consumers appreciate the choice. And well, actually, there's certain features I don't care about. I don't need a in-screen thumbprint reader. I don't need curved glass, or I don't need it to be 4K because it's a fucking telephone. Whatever.
We all need Bixby, though. Go on.
We do all need Bixby. It's fucking great. I've never even tried it.
Don't worry, Sean. Nobody has. But yeah.
No. I've had Samsung phones for years, and I'm just like, fucking Bixby key. Fuck off. But the point is, consumers, like most consumers, are now able to make those choices themselves, and so like it's very rare for like a new range of phones to come out, and for for people to be like, whatever the basic S20 is now, like, it's fucking shit compared to the others. That's not how it works anymore. Whereas with consoles, there's still these people who are just like, if it's not the best, then why call it next gen? What's the point? And I just interesting seeing that mentality still sort of cling in some places, whereas most places, like I say, most sort of decent outlets are just like, here's the choice you can make if you like.
I think also the other thing that a lot of these are sort of talking about is the fact that it doesn't feel like a revolutionary upgrade, like with this.
No.
But the thing is that isn't Microsoft's strategy at all with this. That's not their approach this time round. The revolution is in the services side. With Game Pass and stuff. This is just like a delivery mechanism for those sorts of things. And that's why I don't know what people were expecting with this, because the marketing, the build-up, all of that we've had over the last couple of months has been, these are, to service Game Pass. That's what these are for. These machines. They're not, the machine itself is not the revolution. And but people seem upset about that still. I mean, I think it has probably really hurt them, the fact that they haven't got anything like new to launch this with. I mean, obviously Halo was intended to, and it hasn't.
No, I mean, it's weird because there are games I am excited to play on my Series S when it arrives. But it's just...
Oh, yeah, Sean. Oh, yeah, name them then. Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. But as I name them, it's embarrassing because it's like Destiny 2, Tetris Effect. I found out today that River City Girls is coming to Game Pass, and I've been meaning to get that on Switch for like fucking the last year or so, and now I'm just like, oh, brilliant. But that's a pixel art 2D beat 'em up. Which
sure.
I'm excited to play. Go on, sir.
Do you know what my first game is going to be on my Series S?
Go on.
Mass Effect Andromeda, because I've never played it.
Why?
Because I feel like playing it because of the Mass Effect news, and I never played it.
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah, I'm going to play it. It's not bad. I heard it was all right.
No. Do you know what? Like, it didn't deserve half the kicking it got. But it's just, I think it's because EA chose not to continue with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh wow, so that really just went nowhere. Like, I just feel like I barely even remember half of it now.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, it didn't, I don't know. It's no impact whatsoever from it. It's a shame what happened to that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Tetris, I didn't know Tetris was on Game Pass until today. That's great.
Yeah, and it's getting it's got the multiplayer update. I mean, I probably don't need multiplayer Tetris because I'm not good enough for that to be worth diving into. But yeah, any excuse to play Tetris Effect again.
But yeah, all these Xbox reviews totally killed my buzz.
Really?
Totally
killed.
I
mean, it's pretty much exactly what we expected to hear, right?
This isn't a surprise. I mean, in not the day or the morning, the reviews, I was like, okay, let's all predict what's going to happen. And we all basically nailed it. Yeah, Game Pass amazing, quick resume amazing, great speed, great loading, no killer app. So, we could have written these reviews without having a console. We knew it was going to happen. I knew the OS wasn't going to change, and it's the OS I've been using on my Xbox One X and Xbox One for years at this point. I use the app every day. That hasn't changed. It's a Game Pass. I know what that is. So none of this comes as a surprise, but the thing that kind of kills me is that as we record this on Monday, hopefully the console arrives tomorrow. Shop 2 has still not shipped it, but whatever.
They're not.
Hopefully it arrives tomorrow, and I'm going to basically plug it in and think, okay, now what? I guess I'll go back to work. Like there's not. I'm going to plug in. What's it going to be? It's just going to be like, well. I'm excited to see it, excited to open it and unbox it, absolutely. The pad's pretty much the same apart from the share button. Whereas the PS5, I'm really excited about that, really excited, because I'm excited to see what the pad's like, excited to see what Demon Souls, I didn't play the original, but excited to see what Astro's Playroom is about, excited to see what the machine is. I'm way more excited for that, and I don't know if you guys remember before they unveiled these consoles, I think maybe even before that we even knew about the next gen consoles. I think I said to you, I'm so much more excited for what Microsoft are going to do versus Sony. And I think you all roundly took the piss at me for that. Because I said, well, I'm excited because I'm not very excited for PS5 because PS5 will just be a better PS4. I know what it is. There's no unknowns there. It will be an amazing machine with amazing games, and that's that. Whereas Xbox had to make substantial changes to compete in the next generation, given what they've done with Xbox One. And I was really excited because there's so many unknowns. What are they going to do? How are they going to make changes? And then this was before all the Game Pass stuff, all the acquisitions, all the other big sort of
that's it, isn't it? That's what they've done. The actual box that you play the games on hasn't really changed. It's all the stuff floating around it.
Yeah,
this is why it's weird.
This is a better thing what they've done. They've all your old accessories work. They've been gradually updating, refining, optimizing the OS, and it's the same one. They've just redone the app, but it's the app I've been using. So I think it's kind of just robbed us of big surprises. Obviously, lack of Halo, that is obviously a killer. If Halo's coming out, that'll be something big and huge and exciting to hopefully look forward to play on launch day. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just ready to view. So I'm like, yeah, they really, really killed my buzz. I'm way more excited for PS5 than I am Xbox.
Yeah, there's not that sort of like big you have to buy this because and I mean it's unfair because generally most consoles don't have that, do they? Really?
No.
Like if we look at most launches, they're not.
Yeah, like if you forget that a lot of console launches are pretty rubbish, but as you say, there's usually at least one or two. Like, holy shit, this is why you should buy this console.
But also it's like exciting because it's like new. It's just like I want to see the new OS. It's all the new stuff. Whereas here, there's nothing really new.
But it's also if you think back to like the 360 launch, there were some good games there, but there was also like the promise of like I felt at that time there was a real buzz for stuff like, okay, Perfect Dark Zero. We don't know anything about this hardly at all.
Cameo.
Turned out to be awful. Neither of those games were good games, but there was still a sort of I've got to buy one because I want to see if this is going to be good. These are going to be good games, and this hasn't got that, has it? Because it is bold, isn't it? Releasing a console with no new games is kind of crazy. But
you say it's bold. They didn't plan it this way, did they?
No, probably not. But no, they at least had Halo, didn't they? Which then
that's what I mean. So they thought they were going to have Halo. So the fact that it's come out with no killer app is not an intentional decision, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm still excited to see the machine, and I know. I think Xbox will still be the machine I use the most, and I continue to play online with that. I no doubt, and the PS5 will be there for exclusives and anything else that might make me play on that. So Xbox will be my main console. Just in terms of excitement, it's just there's nothing really there.
See, and I kind of agree with you, Matt, with that, because I'm really excited to get my Series S tomorrow. Hopefully it's going to turn up, because there are a whole load of things I want to play. I'm looking forward to having a machine that works and all that kind of thing. But I am also looking forward to using the DualSense, because I really want to see if this is as big as people are saying it is, in terms of, make it... Because the thing is, we already have, visual upgrades are nice. That's all, it's really good when there's, good visual upgrades, but... to have something which also feels different as well, that is a bit different to me. And that's for me, the
DualSense is the most exciting thing in next gen. Yeah, of everything we've seen. I just can't wait to see it and see what it feels like and see how Astro's Playroom plays with it.
Yeah. Okay, so
that Astro's Playroom is the one thing I'm somewhat jealous about, because I'm probably not getting a PS5 for a while. Mm-hmm. That's the one where I do feel like I'm going to be missing out. Which is weird, but... just for a free pack-in game, but then obviously everyone's saying it's more substantial than we thought. So, yeah.
It's all right. You can get one next year. Like Dave said, he'll get one later. He'll do what I did with the PS4, which is not a bad idea, actually. It worked out quite well for me. That I picked up all these games later, much cheaper, and had a great time with it all rather than at launch. But I know I'm an idiot this time round, and I am buying it. But
it's going to be weird on the show though, because we've never. I'm just trying to think. Have we ever done this show without all basically having access to all of the consoles?
Yeah, I didn't have a PS4 for ages.
Did you not?
No, I only had an Xbox One.
Okay.
I then moaned about it constantly. It's
because obviously I didn't get an Xbox One until much later on, but then I was playing stuff on PC. Yeah, so it didn't really. Yeah, it's going to be weird.
But I think you're talking about games, the first games you're going to play. So, James, you're going to play Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I'm well up for that, for a bit of Mass Effect Andromeda.
It's funny, but it's not a shit game by any means. Yeah. It's not. It's just a very weird choice, James.
I've got a list of games that I want to play, and that is on there. I've got 15.
What else you got?
Let's have a look. I've got the Batman Arkham games, because I've only played the first one of those, and I want to play the other two. So that's one thing. Also, the Gears 4 and 5. I've not played through those properly yet. Mm-hmm. Doom Eternal. That's another one I'm kind of interested in going for, and Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah.
I can't complain, because I'm probably going to get Skate 3 loaded up on mine pretty quick.
Yeah. Is Skate 3 going to be the first game you play on your Xbox then? Sure.
Oh, it's on the list. I'll download a bunch of stuff right off the bat, and I'll see how quickly it downloads. And go from that. But you know what I'm like. I'll just be getting loads of indie stuff. So I'll be playing Gunner 2 on it or something.
Well, it's on Game Pass, so why not?
Exactly,
I am falling into the same trap I've done, for PS4, and I'm like, maybe this is the time I really get into an Assassin's Creed game. And obviously, all the Valhalla reviews come out today, and they say it's excellent.
Yeah.
And I want something new on my new console to play, and I think I might get Valhalla. I'm also I'm not even tempted with that Yakuza Like a Dragon. Just again, something new.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the PS5 version of that. I think it's.
So I just want something new and let's see what this box can do. So maybe Valhalla's the one. I can't really think of anything else on Xbox. And on PlayStation, I've got Miles. Demon Souls I'm going to play as well, but but I think Xbox, maybe Valhalla at the moment, but I'm just desperately trying to find something. It'll probably be FIFA. It'll probably be FIFA 21.
It's going to be that, but I'm annoyed about that because we're not getting the proper version of that until December, which ends my career mode thing. Because every year I play career mode, and now I've got to wait until December before I can start it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I thought, okay, we'll have to just start that stuff or wipe our saves when new consoles come out, but now we'll have to like wipe them twice or something. Like, what's happening? Because all the online pro clubs is like that doesn't move from console to console.
No, the only stuff that does the Volta stuff moves, and also an Ultimate Team, and that's it. All the other stuff you have, like the team we've got, that I've had to start from scratch again. It's really irritating.
Yeah. That
cool.
bollocks.
Sorry, I think we're going to PlayStation.
Yeah. Do you want to know? Okay, so the critical consensus for the PS5 is, I mean, it's a bit different, but it has some of the same caveats as the Series S and X as well. I mean, the biggest overall complaints are mostly over the size of the console. Everyone just keeps going on about that constantly, about how it's massive and all that kind of thing. But there's a lot of praise, mostly because of the controller. Like, everyone thinks it's like a genuine sort of game changer because it is something quite new that it's offering. And I've seen a couple of reviews where they were saying things like, it's good, obviously, with the Xbox that you can play using old controllers and stuff like that. But then this kind of demonstrates that that is holding things back a bit, and it is quite good when you get something completely new, that does something, does other stuff. But then also, like, Astro's Playroom obviously was praised for, like, demonstrating how good this is, with the controller. And also for the new OS, they said that it does feel like a generational change. But then I think that's just because it's something different. It's like,
it looks different.
It looks different.
I do like the sort of, I've seen people sort of tabbing between games on the menus, and it has like the big sort of cool like full screen theme for each one as you're moving around. That's nice, but that's just loading JPEGs.
Yeah.
There's no reason any of the old consoles couldn't do that. It's just a nice idea. So,
but I think it's just because it's in 4K and it looks really nice. I think apart from that, I mean, they like people like the activities and the cards and all that. But I think we're only going to know really after we've spent a lot of time with it and whether developers bothered, utilising all that stuff or not. I'll have to wait and see.
I mean, like, the video stuff is it's a great idea. And I think on I think it was Demon Souls. I think I read they had like over 100 gameplay tips videos. So, but obviously, a lot of developers will be cramming their games with these features at launch. It remains to be seen whether that's still happening like a year or two down the line. But I think that's such a cool little idea. I don't want to get spoiled by searching on a YouTube video. I don't want to have to scrub around to find the right bit. It's so good how these little videos showing a secret or something you're trying to find. That's great. I just interested to see how long it lasts. And the OS, I think it looks cool. I just hope functionality-wise it's snappy and I can get to. I need to get to quick and easy. It looks great, so that's good. But ultimately, I want to make sure it actually functions better and smoother and faster.
Yeah.
Can I just say, if there's a lot of background noise, if anyone has noticed, it's because it's really chucking it down outside.
Is it?
Yeah.
People might find it soothing. Let's all talk quietly and we'll call it an ASMR section. Be fun.
Yes, let's do that.
Because I'm in the garage and it's like it's really coming down outside, which is not great. Looking forward to a power cut in a few minutes, probably, because that's usually what happens. But yeah,
oh bloody hell, I hope not.
Yeah.
Speaking of background noise, just going back to the Xbox Series S, it's confirmed that's absolutely silent as well, along with all the others,
Sean.
which is cool.
Sean,
What?
you
What?
missed the opportunity then.
What?
You should have said it. You didn't say it.
What?
It's whisper quiet.
Whisper quiet. Sorry.
That's the correct marketing term.
That's
what they all say. You've got to say that.
Whisper quiet.
Yeah. I know.
I just thought that was nice.
I hope
worried.
it is. I mean, my One X was maybe not whisper quiet, but it was quiet at the beginning. So was my PS4 Pro, and we all know what happened to that. So,
do you think there's like there's an actual limit in decibels of what classifies as whisper quiet, so you don't get done by trading standards? I think there is.
Maybe. I mean,
There's
it's
a
not whisper
threshold.
quiet TM, thankfully. But I hope they're both quiet. Again, I will happily take a massive console if it means the console is quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't care how big
Absolutely.
it is. If it's quiet, it was all worth it. I don't want to have to play games with headphones on or subtitles on, or or Jill can hear it upstairs or downstairs if I'm if I'm downstairs, you can hear it upstairs. Because the machine was on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
Ridiculous.
See, I mean, overall for both of these, Games Industry.biz have basically said it's harder for Microsoft to make like a big splash with this because of Game Pass having to work across so many devices. It's more difficult to show off like unique capabilities at this stage. but probably we'll see all this later, won't we? I mean, the thing is, for both of these machines, we're not going to see what they're really capable of for at least like a year or 2 years, is it?
This is it. Like, when are Microsoft's going to start pulling the ladder up on the original Xbox One and the One X to an extent as well?
They said 2 years, so
I'm sure they're going to do it as quickly as they can.
2023, maybe.
Yeah.
2022, maybe we'll see some cool stuff.
The advantage of that they've got over Sony in a way is that they can bin it off quicker, can't they? Because there's fewer people that own them. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you look at PS4, it's like they still
You're not upsetting as many millions of people.
Exactly, yeah.
Binning off the original Xbox One.
Exactly, yeah. And the people that own Xbox Ones or whatever, they probably are more dedicated to upgrading and stuff anyway, because it's they're hardcore into that ecosystem or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So, I mean, and by the way, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, I think the plan is for the three of us to do unboxings of our consoles. They should be on our Twitch or maybe on our YouTube channel by this point. We're going to see how it pans out.
No, it won't be. Oh, no, yeah, maybe by this point it should be.
Depends because you don't know what time of day they're all going to arrive. I'm really worried that mine's not going to turn up till 9 p.m.
So be it. Yeah, on Twitch. But I mean, are you live streaming and unboxing, James? Or
no, I'm not going to live stream it. I'm just going to record it.
All right, you're just recording it. Okay.
Yeah. So the plan is for when our new consoles arrive. I mean, again, if you're listening to this, it's already too late. But yeah, as Sean said, by now, we were done live unboxings on Twitch, which will be on our YouTube channel. So at least that's the plan. I mean, who knows?
Fingers crossed. I mean, for all we because if you're already streaming yours and then mine turns up, I'm not waiting 20 minutes just to do mine as well.
Well, hopefully yours arrives in the morning because I'm working in the morning, so hopefully yours gets there early and mine.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, James, what else we got?
Okay, so then also what's happened today is that a PS5 remote play app for PS4 has appeared. And so we're not entirely sure what this does yet because nobody can really test it as such. And what it is it seems to allow PS4 games to be played via remote play on the PS4 with a DualShock 4.
Wait, PS5 games?
Games.
Yeah, PS5 games to be played on a PS4 via remote play, which is odd because you can't do that with a DualShock connected to a PS5.
No.
I don't know how that works. So that's very interesting. But the thing is, I mean, people seem shocked by this, but Sony did the same thing with the PlayStation 3 as well. There was an app so you could play PS4 games on that, by streaming.
Yeah. And the Vita.
Obviously, Vita, all that had those as well. I mean, I'd be more surprised if there was a Vita app, for PS5, but that's not going to happen. But I guess that's good. I mean, people, you put the old machine in another room or something like that, and you can stream stuff. It's not a bad idea.
It's an option, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I wonder how good this is. I mean, because I haven't sold my consoles yet, but obviously the plans want to get a new one. I'll take the old one down to CEX and sell it. I mean, I don't think this is going to fully change my mind, but it did make me think, hang on, maybe I don't, maybe I do keep it in this, but it's not going to be as good as it. I'm just going to want to unplug the machine and take it downstairs if I want to play.
No, but it's a backup, isn't it?
It's an option.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
If you can be asked, I mean, I suppose these are definitely two machines that are going to be in different rooms in your house, and ideally, you're going to need a wired network connection for both of them. So that's going to be a pain.
Definitely.
See,
I tried this the other day with the PS4 because before my PS4 was wired and I had no problem with remote play at all. And then the other day I changed it to wireless network because I was shifting things around. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
It's incredible the difference it makes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first came across this stuff and I was like, but Wi-Fi is fine. Why would it need to be faster than Wi-Fi? Yeah,
it's really not. It's terrible. Yeah. There you go.
What else?
Okay, so next story is that BioWare have announced the Mass Effect trilogy remaster and another new game.
Jesus.
This is happening. So the remastered Mass Effect is coming in spring next year for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and there's also going to be enhanced versions for the Series X, S, and the PS5. Do you want to hear what Casey Hudson has to say about it?
Yes,
He's head of BioWare.
please.
He says, for many months now, our team at BioWare have been hard at work updating the textures, shaders, models, effects and technical features of 3 enormous games. Our goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernise the experience, so that fans and new players can experience the original work in the best possible form. It's been amazing to see the adventures of Commander Shepard take on new life in super sharp resolution, faster frame rates, and beautiful visual enhancements. As game developers, we always hope that our games will transcend their original platforms. Having the opportunity to remaster the trilogy means that the fruits of a decade of our work will live on and will be experienced better and clearer than ever before. Yeah.
Right, so they're not changing up the first game.
No. It's
the first game that aged badly within about 5 months of it coming out.
This is Mario 3D All-Stars. Mass Effect Edition.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's such a shame.
Yeah.
Because the first one arguably has the best... does it have the best story? No, that's a wanky thing to say. But it's the way it's like sets out the universe and you know, and the characters you meet and stuff is fucking great.
Yeah.
But the combat is shite. It wasn't great like day one. And yeah, like so, within a few months, it was like, man, this combat's terrible. And they knew it because they completely rebuilt it for the second one.
Yeah.
And all I ever wanted was a re-release trilogy with that combat put in the first game, and they're not doing that.
No, they put it through an upscaler, Sean.
Brilliant.
But it's okay because it does come with all of the DLC from Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 and all the promotional weapons and that they were selling to people with, microtransactions and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's optimized for 4K Ultra HD. I sound like I'm being mean about this, but I am. This is a good thing because they were very good games. I did enjoy them very much.
Do you reckon they still stand up though?
I think they probably do. I mean. Yeah. I'd be surprised if they don't. I mean, maybe as
even
you said,
the first one.
I mean, maybe okay. The combat with that, as you said, was not great, but you're right. The story in that was brilliant. Like the way that set out everything was fantastic.
The car sections though in the first one.
Yeah, but the music was so good.
Yes, yeah, the music, yeah, but the car sections.
Yeah, but they weren't that bad. It was well, they weren't good, obviously, but they weren't as bad as people make out. It could have been worse.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a shame they couldn't have done a bit more with it. If you ask me, like BioWare need a win.
They do, yeah.
They really need a win.
I'm very sure that will happen. We'll have this next year, and in 5 or 6 years they'll start doing the full remakes, and then yeah.
But anyway, they're also working on the next chapter of the Mass Effect universe, which is apparently being built by, in inverted commas, a veteran team. But we don't know who this is, and apparently it's only in the early stages. So expect this to get cancelled later down the line by EA.
I was going to say, like, I thought the whole thing with BioWare is they haven't...
Don't be like that.
If BioWare still exists, then...
I was going to say, because I was under the impression that BioWare didn't really have any veterans left.
No, they're not on Anthem, are they, anymore?
Poor BioWare.
I know, it's a shame, because I would love to see
them... I would love to see them bounce back. It's just been so long since they've released a truly great game.
Yeah, but that's not their fault either. Like, I really don't think it is. I still think it's EA.
Absolutely. Like as with every AAA game, it's 90% of the people worked really hard and did a fucking good job. It's just like, especially with Andromeda, it was on paper it was like 5 years in development or something, but the actual game we got was only built in the last year, basically, because there were just so many changes in direction. It was originally going to be like a No Man's Sky thing, which hilariously, what was it? There was a video I watched on YouTube, and there's like a quote from one of the developers, or is it like it might have been like a scan of a document where it's like, oh yeah, we were going to do like a generated, like automatically generated planets thing, but we tried it and it just wasn't interesting enough. Basically, it's like yeah.
Don't tell me all this, Sean. I'm going to play this game soon. I'm excited about it.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's not the game they ended up with. The game they ended up with was, like I say, sort of built in a hurry in the last sort of 12 months. Mm-hmm. There is real potential in Andromeda. It just wasn't. I don't know. Just didn't come together quite right. The story was just weird in places. A lot of the missions are a bit dull. Mm-hmm. A very interesting weapon customization system, though.
I'll look forward to that. Yeah.
You can just get a submachine gun and make it fire grenades instead of bullets, like rapid fire, and then make them do energy blast. Like, you can just combine loads of weird effects, and it's just really stupid.
Is the music still good?
I honestly don't remember.
Oh, that's not good.
So take that as you will.
Yeah, I played a bit of the first one. I think I owned the first two, or I guess, I owned the first two. And then I was really excited for the third one. I was like, this looks brilliant. Maybe this will be the one I finally jump in on, and then just like, the reviews weren't great, and
you should stream them, Matt.
You have to
play.
play.
The first one I played.
Hang on, you were going to do Matt Effect, weren't you? That was one thing we talked about.
And
still can now.
Maybe I do now. Maybe I do.
I think you should. I do think you should.
I played the first one, and the Mako bits were horrendous, and I think I got stuck in the level because of a bug, and I was like, this feels so bad. And then I don't know if I bothered with the second one because I just stopped. But if it's just something to maybe polish the first one a bit, then that would maybe be enough for me to go and start Mass Effect finally. But
I think you should do it because I think obviously because it's so like story and big decisions based. It's going to be hilarious.
It'll be good, yeah. It really will be good. Yeah. They're such good games, and they're not very, very long either. Like I think they're only about like 30 hours, aren't they? Tops, I think.
I mean, that's quite long, especially when there's 3 of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously that's like for each one, it's like they're not like it's not like embarking on like a Final Fantasy game or whatever.
No.
Like 100 hours.
I've wanted to try the second one. Obviously, after you guys talking so much about it and loving it so much, and Dave loving it so much, so I really would want to try it. So I'm really glad to be announced, and I'm definitely gonna give them a go.
Cool.
Okay, we've got some Sega news.
Excellent,
which is
doing really well. Yeah,
mostly bad. So first of all, they're selling off their arcade business because of the coronavirus. So what's happened is that Sega Sammy Holdings have sold like 85.1% of it now to a Japanese amusement company called Genda. They bought it, and they're also expecting extraordinary losses from the transition. The arcade centres they got are still going to be named Sega, even after the handover, which makes sense because, I mean, when I went there, it's like they do seem like it's like iconic, like these massive like Sega arcades like everywhere. But they're also going to continue to develop arcade games as well. But the other thing that's happened is that they're asking 650 people to retire, like in Japan, and to take like voluntary redundancy. And a lot of the executives have taken a pay cut because, again, this is because of the coronavirus mostly.
Wow.
So, I mean, as of the 30th of September, Sega had 9,051 employees, and there are so 650 of those are going to go, and there's going to be like a retirement date of the 28th of February 2021 where they're going to get like re-employment support and all that kind of thing. But it's mostly just because of the losses. So, I mean, they lost it was 18 million from the impact of the COVID-19, and then for the second quarter there was a further loss of 135 million.
135 million what? Yen or dollars?
Pounds. Pounds.
Oh, wow, okay.
18.4 billion yen. As a result because of selling the arcade business. And in the third quarter, they're expecting even more losses of about 73 million because of the voluntary retirement of employees as well. So things are not looking great there. Meanwhile, Microsoft is seeking acquisitions of small to big Japanese development studios.
Here we go. This is it. Sega cut the fat. They're as slim as you can get now.
So according to Bloomberg, they're reporting that a number of studios based in Japan have been approached by Microsoft with a view to acquiring them. The studios have asked not to be named and wouldn't say how this has concluded. But it was Jeremy Hinton, who's the head of Xbox operations in Asia, said Microsoft were always open to discussions with creators that are a good fit, but then also wouldn't say if there's any acquisitions are going to be announced anytime soon. But apparently they approached Koei Tecmo. That was one of the companies they were looking at.
Dynasty Warriors on Game Pass, mate.
Yeah, I think.
Let's go.
They had a relationship with them before, though, didn't they? Because there was all those with the original Xbox. There was quite a few Koei Tecmo games that came out. Yeah, stuff like Dead or Alive and all that kind of thing.
Classics.
Yeah,
I mean, the Sega rumors have been around for so long.
I always wonder how much that is just wishful thinking, though.
I was going to say, I think that's just people wanting it to happen, isn't it? It's not necessarily.
Yes, wishful thinking.
It sort of makes sense.
Yes, people just throwing rumours out and seeing what happens. But also, Sega obviously in a bit of financial trouble. They've cut off other parts of the business that Microsoft probably wouldn't have wanted to deal with anyway, the arcade business, so on and so forth. They've got a bunch of really great IP. They've got incredible history and heritage with loads of stuff, old franchises that hopefully they still own. There's so much potential there. But
the only thing is, though, as has always been the case with any like Japanese developer like wanting to sell to Microsoft, is like if you do that, then you're basically saying that your games are no longer going to be bought in Japan. Like nobody's going to play those games, and that's, I think, one of the main reasons why studios seem less, because surely Microsoft have gone after all of these for like decades now, like trying to buy people, but nobody's bitten, and I think that may be one of the main sort of reasons. But according to Ace Research Institute analyst Hideki Yasuda, this may be changing because they think that it's looking like sort of Sony have less interest in Japan these days, and because they're focusing a lot more on the US and like other markets, and they think that it could be that there could be like a slight change underway here. Like, I mean, that maybe Microsoft could start to gain ground in Japan if they really start to focus on it in a big way.
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, when all the rumors were that a few months back about there'd be a Sega Series X, there'd be a Sega branded Xbox again. It's all just tittle tattle made up stuff, and it was exciting for a few days. The Photoshops are brilliant. The Sega Xboxes and stuff that are, and I got excited about that. But I also thought, wow, people aren't going to be stupid. Like, it's a Sega Xbox. It's like they're going to realise that it's
literally just rebadging it. Yeah. I mean, I think I said at the time I'd love an Xbox with a Sega logo on it for no particular reason. But yeah, it's just, as you say, it's not going to fool anyone, is it?
No.
I mean, the arcades thing is sad, right? Because arcades, I mean, in the UK, arcades have been disappearing left, right, and centre for the last 10, 15 years. I've always been under the impression that they're still a pretty big deal in Japan. So to see that
they're still massive in Japan,
yeah. So to see that that they're even closing over there now, thanks to the Rona, is a huge shame. Did any of you guys ever go to, was it Sega World, the one in the Trocadero?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I went there a couple of times.
See, because I completely missed it, and when I lived in London for a bit, we used to go to, so there's like three levels of arcade in the Trocadero, but then the very top level where Sega World was just like the escalator was just shut off. And I remember we went there for, was it? I don't think it was a press event. There was like a games event, or a tournament thing or something. And we were like, oh, apparently it's at the Trocadero. Weird. I wonder where they're having it. And when we got there, and it was like, oh yeah, it's up this escalator. And we're like, fuck, we're going to fucking Sega World. But it was just depressing because even just going up the escalator, it was just like, because it had those sort of big sort of rings around the escalator as you went up to it. And they were just covered in cobwebs and dust, and they were just absolutely fucked. And it was just like, man, this is so sad. I mean,
but again, when I went to Tokyo, it was still massive. Like, you go to those, there's just so many of those like Sega centres like all over the place, and really well populated with loads of people and all that. But maybe now not so much.
Yeah, I mean, swings and roundabouts, because now we have places like Arcade Club, which are amazing. But yeah, weird.
So who else could they buy? I mean, Konami, they've obviously got a lot of IP, but
they've also Konami do other things, don't they? Now it's like other business. It's not. I mean, unless they sold off, unless they sold off like their gaming stuff to Microsoft or whatever. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, maybe they're quite happy to just get rid of the game franchises and focus on pachinko machines, but.
It would have definitely been Capcom a few years ago, but since the Resident Evil remakes and 7 and stuff have come back, and obviously Monster Hunter blowing up.
Yeah, and obviously kind of Street Fighters,
there's no chance now.
Yeah, sort of Street Fighter 4 onwards, there's been a big resurgence in the fighting game scene. So yeah, Capcom are all right.
So if Microsoft had got in there about 4 or 5 years ago, they could have got it.
They'd be laughing now,
No chance now. Well, I think so. It'd be interesting to see what they do with this, because it does, in many ways, feel like Japan has just gone. They shouldn't bother. They obviously always keep saying they are bothering. And there was reports a few weeks ago of the initial allocation of new Xbox consoles in Japan and Korea and China. I think sold out instantly or sold out within hours. Right. But again, we don't know how large those allocations were.
Not in China, because they're probably PS5 and Series X.
Well, there's a bunch of regions around there. I was like, okay. But I thought, okay, I mean, it's good that they're selling. I mean, I'd be fascinated to know what the allocation was. So
it's like 500 units
of some sort over there. But it's obviously it's going to be like a decade's worth of work to turn that thing around to to become successful.
It's also because Nintendo are so dominant now. Like in Japan, like so dominant, like they're way ahead of Sony now, even like in the region, and it's like, yes, it's difficult, I think, to compete with that now.
Mm.
Anyway, Take-Two are buying Codemasters for $973 million.
I didn't see this coming.
No, I mean,
fair play to Codemasters. Obviously they've been an institution since before I started playing games, like, back on the C64, like all the Dizzy games and stuff. CJ's Elephant Antics, we all remember that, don't we?
Oh, yeah, bloody love that one.
Classic, mate. The final boss was a volcano. So to see them like sell for such a huge amount, and the fact that they, there was a whole period where a lot of studios were shutting down. So we talked about Sony Liverpool last week, and I think when Evolution shut, I think I'm just thinking of Evolution, but basically Codemasters just like took loads of the staff on, and obviously they've made like racing games their whole thing. And they've, been putting out really good ones for years now. But yeah, I'm interested what Take-Two's angle is on this.
Maybe they'll change the driving model in GTA.
Maybe, yeah.
It'll be like Colin McRae Rally.
This entire studio's just going to do the cars. And I'm joking, but that's probably actually how making
Dizzy is collectibles, like in the game world.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we're getting a new Dizzy.
Prince of Yoke remake.
Yeah. What was the Viking one? Shit, I can't remember.
I don't know. They weren't very good games, Sean.
No, it was like a really bad sort of point and click adventure.
Yeah.
Spike in Transylvania. That was it. Fucking awful.
Anyway,
I haven't made that up. That's a real game.
Anyway,
carry on.
But no, I think you're right, Sean. It's just good. That the Codemasters name is, still going and still valuable enough for them to be acquired. And it'll be interesting to see what they go on to do from here, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I'm Googling Spike in Transylvania now because I do feel like I've made it up. No, it's real. It was only published by Codemasters, though. It wasn't developed by them. It's fine. Sorry, go on.
Okay, would you like to hear about Square Enix's financials? Because they're
always...
they're kind of interesting.
Is that a trick question?
Well, so, okay. Anyway...
Does Square Enix want to hear about Square Enix's financials?
Okay, so revenues and profit were up versus like last year for the first part with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, it did very well, basically. Mm-hmm. But then the quarter during which Avengers came out saw a £36 million loss. Yeah. And so the company have not said like how many copies they've sold or commented at all on its performance, but basically it doesn't look good. And it turns out that they said it was this Tokyo-based video game analyst Dave Gibson said that volumes were 60% of plan, and that Avengers had only sold about 3 million or so. Now, I was saying to Sean before we record this earlier in the day, I had a look on Steam charts. Because Eurogamer did the same thing, but I thought I'd have a look and see what the more recent numbers are.
So you just copy them, yeah.
And like the currently, like when I looked, there were 703 people playing the game, which doesn't sound particularly high. And the all-time peak in September was 28,000. So it seems that this is not done. I don't think what they intended at all, because they were looking at this being like a kind of a Destiny, weren't they? Really?
Yeah. It's just been bizarre, hasn't it? Like the game's fine. Like it's it's a big license and it's perfectly good fun. Like what I've played of the campaign, I must have done like 3 or 4 hours, and I've totally enjoyed myself. And yet I haven't gone back. I'm not compelled to return to it. Like I was saying to James earlier, it's I don't know if this is just me and my broken brain, but knowing that, so the way it's structured is there is a sort of fairly typical single-player story campaign in it, which is apparently, fine in of itself. And as I say, I've enjoyed what I've played of it. But knowing that there's this Destiny-esque bit at the end of it, and I know I haven't got time for that, so it just puts me off the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I'm not able to just be like, oh, well, I'll just play the campaign and then I'll stop, because what's the harm in that? And I don't know. And I think, like James was saying, it's that whole, like, just people sort of going, well, I haven't got time for another game as a service. So, I don't know. I've nothing bad to say about it. And yet it doesn't surprise me at all.
I was like, okay,
that it's.
I would be well up for another game that's like Spider-Man and it's Avengers. I'm not massively into Avengers, but if it's like Spider-Man, I'm well up for that. And then when I heard it was more of a co-op thing, more of a games of service thing, and also just seeing the first trailers, I'm like, okay, this isn't quite up to the same quality as Spider-Man.
Yeah. They could have just made it a single.
There, really.
They could have just made it a single player thing. They could have taken out like the RPG stuff is. Maybe it gets more involved later on. From what I've played, it's quite superfluous, to be honest. Which again, I didn't mind, didn't offend me. But there wasn't much compelling about that stuff, and it feels like for what I've played, they could have just not put it in, and they could have just made a really compelling single player game. And I think almost wonder if it would have done better.
The funny thing about this is that 2 or 3 weeks ago, when there was the news that this is all 3 million copies, I was like, okay, right, I'd heard that under 1,000 people were playing this on PC, and it had not done particularly well. But actually, 3 million copies, that's really good.
Yeah,
and
3 million's all right.
I thought, oh, okay, so maybe I've just misjudged it. Maybe it's just sold amazingly well because it's Avengers, it's Marvel, and actually enough people played it. It wasn't just, the Gamersphere bubble on Twitter who said it bombed, or saw these numbers on Steam saying, well, hardly anyone was playing it, therefore it bombed. I thought, oh, wow, okay, 3 million copies, that's great. And then now this happens, and you're like, okay, no, so 3 million was nothing compared to the cost of the game.
I mean, there's every chance that, because, it is clearly very expensively made, like the production values are, right up there. There is every chance that 3 million isn't enough to recoup the costs on something like this. But then equally, active number of players on Steam might not be a fair measure because it's not really a PC game.
That's true. It's definitely much more console than PC. So again, I'd be fascinated to find out the number of people playing and sales figures on console.
Yeah.
But either way, it hasn't hit the numbers they wanted to.
No.
I mean, I wonder how much the fact that they can get the likenesses of the actors hurt it.
I don't think it's
strange, that, isn't it? Because we talked the other week about this and how with Spider-Man, no one cared. But then maybe that's because Spider-Man hasn't had... because Spider-Man's changed, whoever plays Spider-Man...
It's like Bond. I think that wouldn't matter because...
Yeah, it's like...
Spider-Man loads, but these are Iron Man is, Robert Downey Jr. And
exactly, yeah.
I think...
cinematically, Spider-Man has been so interchangeable, whereas, all those other MCU characters have... they're all so embedded, with those actors. So maybe that's why people just couldn't accept it. I don't know. But like I say, from what I've played, it doesn't hurt it at all. All the people they've got in to play all of the, the known characters all do a fantastic job, and it's really nicely written and acted and everything. Once I was actually playing it, I had no problem with them not quite being the ones from the films at all. And yet it was enough to start creating a stink about it as soon as it was first revealed, wasn't it?
I still think it's the live services angle to this is what's done the damage. As in, it's just like you said, it's the idea that there's kind of a buy-in to it of time that you're going to have to do. Which, if they'd have put out just a solid single player game, which it sounds like it is as well, then you don't have that sort of impression that you're going to have to do that. It's, I don't know. Well, maybe, I mean, apparently they're going to be redoing stuff anyway for a next gen version of this as well, because it's not going to be available immediately. It's going to be sometime next year. So maybe there'll be...
What, they're sinking more money into it? No, don't sink any more money into it, clearly.
Good money after bad, mate. No, I would like to go back at some point. I mean, supposedly they're putting Spider-Man in at some point. That would be cool. But they're still, like I said, still haven't finished the campaign. But I've really enjoyed what I've played, and yet for some reason it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that it hasn't done the numbers they wanted. Hey ho.
Okay, last story. Would you like a Google Stadia story?
Every week, every fucking week.
I mean,
for the rest of my life.
I mean, the thing is as we're coming to the launch of these new consoles and everything, this feels like a good time for Google to start, talking about what they're doing with their service. So they have announced that you will soon be able to share games with your family group.
Great. Is that all? I mean, that's good because the rest of my family's been absolutely fucking jonesing for a bit of Google Stadia. So
they're like, Sean, with your massive library of incredible Google Stadia content, I wish we could all play that same incredible library of Google Stadia content. You can.
Yeah, I've had to put locks on all the doors in the house. because they're all just like kicking. Oh, let us in! I want to play Destiny 2. I want to play Red Dead Redemption. Like they're just going absolutely mental. And I'm just like, look, I've only got one account.
I know I rag on this a lot, but I'm genuinely amazed at how quickly it became irrelevant. Like, it's just amazing. Like
why haven't all this time in the build up to the new consoles? Why hasn't Stadia been like, hey guys, everything you run on Stadia's on cool new fast hardware, and you don't have to think about it. Yeah. Especially with all the conversations we've been having about all the next gen stuff being a bit confusing. What runs on what runs the new version of what? When's the new version coming? Blah, blah, blah. If Stadia had just come out and be like, hey, we've got the newest, best version of fucking everything, because that's supposedly one of the the plus points of the the service, right?
Yeah,
like that's the whole point, or one of the points of it. But they've just not mentioned that. That's
but
not
then you've got the
massive
confusion with
point.
their business plan, haven't you? Where they're just then people are like, so hang on, this is like Netflix but for games. They're like, no, it's
stop saying that. Stop saying that.
Stop saying that. Yeah.
But another big thing that they could be talking about is the fact that another big talking point of consoles is about their lack of storage compared to massive game sizes.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
There's no you've only got 500 gig or terabyte or 800 or whatever it is. You go unlimited because you don't have to download the games.
Yeah, that's it. They ought to be just like selling look, this 50 quid controller, it does everything that these new consoles are doing. You can buy, that's all you need is you just need this, and then you're all in and everything. But yeah, there's been nothing, has there? Like nothing. It's a shock.
I mean, for me, this isn't so much the market rejecting it. It's Google rejecting doing a lot of stuff that I would expect. I mean, obviously we're in a pandemic, lots of things have happened, but I would also expect, okay, any Bluetooth controller works. There's Stadia apps on every TV now. There's, all these features we showed a year or so ago, they're available. You can jump from a YouTube video straight to the game. You can do this, you can do it. I mean, I haven't heard if most of those features are even live.
Yeah. I don't think, none of that stuff's in yet, is it? And like, say,
it really feels like they have, it's not just the fact that lots of people are like, no, I don't fancy that. It's just Google have not doubled down. They've not gone to fix it. They've not gone to add the things. And you're so right, Sean. Like, they've had this year of the consoles coming out and all, stock supplies and storage issues and what version and download sizes. It's like, they're not issues of Stadia. Why aren't they doing everything they can to get us out there and saying free trial here and these games there and apps here? Oh, yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
Poor Stadia.
I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Maybe they anticipate there'll be it'll blow up at the beginning and then they would do a lot of these cool stuff, or they just shelved a lot of the cool stuff because they didn't see the numbers there. But
I mean, I think that they released Stadia in the same way they release most like Google stuff, which is that it's kind of a beta, like when it comes out. And they thought, but I don't think they realised that you can't really do that, like with video games. It doesn't work, like because people, if you don't grab people like immediately and you don't sort of build like a fan base and stuff like that, you're done. Like it won't. Yeah. It's never going to happen. It's crazy. That's it. That's the end of the news.
I was looking. When's Amazon Luna coming out? Is it only out in America right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that doing any better.
No,
given that they only made
it's
one game
unlikely
so far, and it wasn't very good.
We've got a week of fun ahead though with the new consoles. I mean, I just read that. I should have added this to the news, but I didn't. There's that you sent that list, Matt, of things that don't work on the Xbox at launch. And how the iPlayer doesn't work on there, and EA Play doesn't work either, and stuff like that.
I can live with that. That's not. I don't consider that a problem.
No, but it's still quite funny.
But it is. It's quite bad.
There's like an official list of Microsoft. What was it? Known issues that has been posted on somewhere on Microsoft, and one of which jumped out was EA Play app doesn't work, and I'm like.
I mean, that is bad.
Hang on.
That's bad.
The massive thing you've been touting saying EA Play comes to Game Pass on the 10th. Everyone's like, okay, this is incredible. But the app doesn't work. I mean, yes, admittedly, you can search for any of those games on store or go to games and apps and they will appear. But for the app, which is where most people will see this stuff probably, to not even be working for launch.
Do you think they'd have the sense to just create like a category on the front page of the store to be like, oh, by the way, sorry, here's all the EA Play games?
I mean, I should hope so. I mean, like I said, if you go anyone who's got an Xbox now, if you go to games and apps, there is like a subscriptions tab, and it will just show all the games that are available under each of those subscriptions. One of which is now EA Play.
Right. Still
and
messy,
also
though,
you can search on the store if you want to do one of 10-hour trials and stuff. But still, it's like, Jesus Christ, you couldn't get this massive thing done in time for launch.
I mean, it's probably
and also
EA's fault rather than
problems as well. Like where it says,
really?
If you
is this the HDR stuff?
Yeah, the HDR stuff.
HDR's too dark.
I mean, that's just a thing though, as we saw with the Ghost of Tsushima stream.
It's very true.
And it's been the same with like screenshots on the PS4 Pro as well.
Yeah.
That is just a thing. So, I mean, it's annoying. Like, there must be a way of sorting it out.
All of this stuff's going to get fixed, but you know that the first couple of weeks or the first couple of months of both of these consoles or all three of them is going to be interesting because you know there's going to be a lot of like belly aching, isn't there, about stuff like things.
Yeah. There's going to be loads of it.
The only thing I don't get is that something like EA Play, you've got to flag that up. But the iPlayer, just don't put the app on until it works.
Yeah, but then people will be...
I think the idea is there is no app at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
but again, it's iPlayer.
I thought it was like they'd put the app on
how
it and then just like,
had
but
the
don't load
agreements
it.
up to now? iPlayer's on Xbox as it is.
Yeah.
What's taken so long to like...
Yeah.
So we've got a new console out on Tuesday. Could you... No, we can't. Oh.
It loads too fast now. And actually breaks the space-time continuum.
It loads so fast, there's no titles for like EastEnders. It basically is the end of the episode.
Yeah. Everything plays at twice the speed because it's trying to run at 120 hertz.
It's really messing up everything.
Yeah.
Wild. It's going to be, as you said, James, it's going to be a messy old few weeks in console land, but it kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. That it for the news?
That is it, yeah.
What have we been playing? Matt, you've got the most on your list. I think James and I have had
I've got the most on my list, but it's mostly very, very little. I mean, I've been playing a lot of FIFA. Yep. Not a lot to go into there, but still absolutely loving pro clubs. Me and Dave and John Denton and John Denton's brother-in-law and some others playing it. Absolutely brilliant. It's all the annoyance that FIFA normally gives you with... Suddenly, it feels like a fruit machine, and suddenly a fruit machine's not going to pay out, and you'll go against a team which has fully stacked characters, and you're like, why do I bother with this? But it's worth it for the highs. I mean, it's like football, you go through the lows. It's absolutely worth it for the highs. I can't wait to see what's like on next gen. But that's FIFA. And
is James? You not on this?
Sorry,
is James not playing this with you?
No, I can't now.
You played a bit.
I mean, I played it, but I can't play it now because I don't own an Xbox anymore. Until my new one turns up. But I was playing it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, James, of like pro clubs? You haven't played much of that before, have you?
No, it's all right. It's not bad. I mean, it's depressing, isn't it? Like how you sometimes go up against people that are clearly like skilled up, like statted up and everything, and it makes it less fun. But then also you have the amazing bits where it all comes together, and then it's brilliant. But
yeah. Yeah, it's worth it for that. So that's FIFA. And then I guess the other thing of note is that I finished Super Mario Bros.
God damn.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Super Mario Brothers. Did it. It was very much last chance for me. I was starting to annoy myself with just my inability to get past those hammer idiots. But I did it, got to the last level. And in fact, I think I got to... that was my first go at the boss, and then I did it because I have firepower, and I did it. So that's Super Mario Brothers done.
Nice one.
Very, very happy to get that off my plate. And I started Super Mario Brothers 2. And I know nothing about it, so started it, and I was incredibly confused. I think I said on the stream, well, I kind of had my mouth open for most of it. I was like, is this made by a different team? Why is every part of this game different to the one I've just been playing?
This blows my mind, honestly, that you didn't know about this. Like this, it's incredible that you didn't know. Honestly, I
didn't bother reading Nintendo stuff. I didn't want to hear it. Didn't read about it. Fuck that. So no, I knew nothing about it.
Okay. But yeah,
so what is the story?
What do you know now?
Is this, like, what's the when did this come out?
Okay, so this came out. How many years was it after the original one? It wasn't that long, but basically there is another. Okay, there's two versions of Super Mario Brothers 2. And the one you're playing
the
is
two
now...
versions is a weird way of putting it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so there was one that was released in Japan, which was a straight-up sequel to Super Mario Brothers, which is the same, but also incredibly difficult and mean-spirited, like in many, many places. And
mean-spirited?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it really is, honestly. And that is, like on that collection, there's the lost levels.
Yes.
That's what that is. That's
right. Yeah. So the debate was. So all this time, I've said, okay, once the first one's done, I'll go on to Lost Levels, because in the list, in the menu, it goes Super Mario Brothers, it goes Lost Levels, and then Super Mario Bros. 2. So that was the order to go do it in.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think you guys all argue differently, or you might have different opinions. And everyone in the chat said, just don't bother Lost Levels now. Yeah. I think they were sick with the fact that they've been watching
it would have been hard.
Struggle.
It's just not really viewed
and they're like,
as...
please, no, Matt, please don't do it.
Like James says, yes,
Mario Brothers 2.
Technically it was the second Mario game that came out, but it's kind of... What's the word I'm after, James? It's not viewed as like a canon entry in the series.
Which one? Which one?
Lost Levels.
No. Well, it kind of, well, it is in Japan, obviously, because that was the second one that came out. But then they basically, in those days, the cartridges were sent to America, and like people played them obviously before they decided whether they were going to release them or not in the US, because in those days there was obviously a lot of cultural differences, all that kind of thing, and they played it. And they were like, this is far too difficult. People are not going to be able to play this, like in the US. So they decided not to release it. And instead, they looked for something else that could be... Because obviously Mario was massive at the time, like because of the first game. It was bigger and bigger. And they were like, we need to get something out. Like, there needs to be something that's got to go out. So what they did was they took another game that's called Doki Doki Panic. And they basically reskinned it with Mario characters. And that's what you've just played. And that's what that is. And in Japan, the one that you're playing at the moment, like Mario 2, is known as Super Mario Brothers like USA, because it was only released. Yeah, it was released in the West.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, because obviously when you hear that, it's like, oh well, so Lost Levels is the real Super Mario 2, and then what we call Super Mario 2 is just some bullshit. And yet, like looking at Mario now, like. It now incorporates so many things that were actually original characters from Doki Doki Panic, but just ended up in this like I say, this sort of bullshit Mario game. Whereas Lost Levels, relatively speaking, is like no one really bothers with it.
Yeah,
like it's just it's fascinating. It feels like we kind of got it backwards, but like so Lost Levels didn't. So Lost Levels came out originally in 86, but then we didn't get it until Super Mario All Stars in 1993.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny because there's a bunch of things that are from Super Mario Brothers 2, the one that we know as Super Mario Brothers 2, that are now like part of it all. Like you've got like Shy Guys, for example, were like from
Birdo and
that
and
originally.
Stuff like that.
And I mean, they changed a bunch of stuff. I mean, there was some I was looking up earlier. There's like characters that were changed, obviously, because they're racist, basically. Like they look really racist, like characters from Doki Doki Panic, which were then like changed to shells and stuff like that for Mario Brothers 2. But I mean, there's also like gameplay mechanics as well that were incorporated from it, such as things like Luigi being able to like jump higher, and Toad being faster and that kind of thing. These are all like things which have then gone on later, in future games. But it's a shame because as the game style though of stuff like I mean, like the funniest thing I saw when I saw some of that video of you, Matt, was when you like jumped on something's head and it didn't die, and you were like, what? It's like, and that's like, I mean, that's like a game mechanic. They've never gone back to that, obviously, because it's just crazy. Like it's like you have to pick things up and chuck them and everything, and you don't really get that so much now. But yeah, I was so surprised. I was like, okay, kill this guy. What? Yeah. Why am I? And then also like the screen wrapping round as well, which was like the screen wrapping. I mean, that's something that was really common for NES games anyway. They did that all the time. Like so many games do that. Like things like Ice Climbers and all that kind of stuff. They've all got like the screen wrapping. But it was very interesting to see your reaction to that, and I think you're playing the better version of it as well, because I played it not so long ago again on the NES collection sort of thing on the Switch, and honestly I hated it like when I played it on there. But the All Stars version I think is a lot better and is a lot more enjoyable. I think than the original NES one. So I think
it's not a bad game.
I think you should enjoy it. Try out the different characters, because obviously they do have different abilities, different way of playing, and that kind of thing. It's good. I like Luigi. The way he moves is the jumping is good.
The way he moves.
So it is this kind of type of game where I need to be constantly changing character depending on the scenario, or
Not really.
just finding what I like and
I
going
don't
with
think
that.
so. I think you can just pick a favourite and go with it, right, James? I think it's just I think they're just different.
There's maybe some levels that are better using, like, for example, like Peach, because she can float, and there's some levels which are like, in the sky and things like that, and you may find it easier if you like choose her, because then you can miss jumps and things like that, like, a bit easier. But in general, I mean, Toad for some of the underground stuff, because he digs a lot faster than the other ones. But that's about it, really. But it'd be interesting to see what you think about it, because then we got that, and then there was obviously Mario Brothers 3, which became like a massive juggernaut, and they went back to the original style. And there's always been this idea of, like, what if they'd have, like, iterated off Mario Brothers 2 instead, like, in a bigger way? Like, what would the series be like? And they didn't. Yeah. But
because my memory is that. So was the one on the NES more like Mario Brothers 2?
How do you mean?
No, I don't know, because when I saw that level yesterday, I kind of had like flashbacks of seeing like what I thought was like a NES version, but I presume there wasn't.
There is a NES version.
There's a NES version of it, of Mario 2.
Yeah, so the one in Super Mario All Stars is visually
they just updated
quite a bit
and made it look nicer.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Am I like to get stuck on an annoying level of annoying enemies in this game?
Yeah, definitely, because it's not an easy game. Like, I mean, I think the All Stars one, I think, is probably easier than the NES version, but it's not like super easy. But it's not really difficult either. Like, especially this one, because it
was just those hammer idiots. So kind of they were totally different from any other enemy. Like, everything else has happened at the same time, same place. You could plan routes. But these are just like chucking hammers and annoying.
There are a couple of really irritating enemies in this. Like, there's one, like, there's the masks that, like, glow and then chase you around the screen, which are very irritating.
The stuff of nightmares they are. They're terrifying.
Yeah, they're not good.
I've already had fun with them. Yeah,
it'd be great. Super Mario Brothers 3 is class, though.
Yeah, that is a very, very
I'm
good
excited
game.
for you to get onto that. But
so that's that. So I'll be doing more Super Mario Brothers 2 on Sunday at 8 on Twitch, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we played Star Trek, didn't we, on Friday?
We did,
which was fun
for I think the last time. But I'm all right with that, because we passed that mission that we were shite at the time before, and then we got onto another mission that just seemed to be absolutely impossible. So
it did seem to be quite tricky,
and that was after like we were working really well together. So I don't feel like we made any mistakes, and we just got the shit kicked out of us. So I think
so it's great to play a game, but I feel like I think we should probably give it a bit of a rest. And also, I think the last time on Friday we were doing so well. There's less japes, more just focusing on the mission at hand.
I don't know, because Dave's done the highlight reel from it, and there's still plenty of.
Yeah, there is. Oh, yeah. So if you missed it live, obviously you can watch the whole thing on our YouTube channel, but Dave's also done another brilliant highlights video. So just search TCGS and you'll see another 20 minutes of absurdity from the Friday night stream.
Yeah.
But that's it this week. I've barely really played much, but that's it.
Cool. I've not played much this week either, but I've been playing South of the Circle on Apple Arcade.
What is it?
Oh, okay. So you're still an Apple Arcade member?
Oh, absolutely, mate. This is from the developers who did is it Lumo and then Lumino City, which I never played, but I always intended to. Sort of really beautiful sort of point and click adventures. This is more of a choose your own adventure style thing. It's very reminiscent of.
Sorry, I'm just looking this up. This looks brilliant.
Yeah,
the story looks amazing.
Spoilers, it is. So it's very reminiscent of I've talked about Over the Alps before, which is another Apple Arcade game, and it's another choose your own adventure thing. And where Over the Alps was set in the Alps during World War II, it's like a World War II sort of spy thriller. Whereas this is it's set in the 60s and it's in the Arctic rather than the Alps. And you're like a Cambridge researcher stroke professor. And basically it starts off like you're in a plane crash in the Arctic, and you're basically just trying to survive, and like your pilot's busted his leg, and you're trying to get help and get him sorted out and hopefully get out alive. But as you're going through, the Arctic and, sort of finding like, places where you think you're going to get help. So you're sort of going between like bases and stuff, trying to figure out what your next move is. As you're doing that, you're also having flashbacks to the main character's life as a professor in Cambridge, and this paper that he's been working on, and how, it wasn't really working out, but then he's, inspired and sort of embarks on this new branch of research. But it's also like there's a bunch of Cold War stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, James, you might know more than me. I didn't realise that Antarctica was like a hot spot in like during the Cold War, because it was this sort of neutral territory where people were just sort of testing shit, and it was all a bit
becoming more so again now, actually, as a
really
as a location of interest for a lot of countries at the moment.
Oh Jesus! And it's just so where Over the Alps was all text based, and it was. And don't get me wrong, I'm not about to slag that off. It was beautifully written, and it was really felt like reading a good book. Not that I'd know what that feels like because I'm a fucking Philistine, but this is way more cinematic. This is all fully voiced, fully animated. It's, I mean, not the comparison I would want to make. It's much more David Cage, but if I liked David Cage, like it's very much like things are just playing out, and you're just basically pressing on icons. Like, so you'll be having conversations, and then sort of different icons will appear, sort of representing different styles of response. So one will be sort of, scared and defensive. One's confident. One's jokey. Or one's like caring. And it's pretty much spot on. It's often a risk with games where you sort of pick one, and then the character says something, and you sort of think, well, hang on, that's not really what I wanted to say, but okay, whatever. It generally nails it, and it's just. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like visually, it's this really sort of beautiful sort of posterized style. Again, not unlike Over the Alps, but whereas Over the Alps is basically static images, this is all like animated, right? So it's like real time 3D stuff, with like this really sort of beautiful filter over it, and sort of limited color palette, but really beautifully used. The soundtrack is absolutely gorgeous, and the story's really compelling. And I've just been really enjoying like. And basically every night before bed, just sitting up. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear Mara's like woofing in her sleep in the background. Fucking idiot. Just getting in bed and doing like an hour on it in bed every night. I absolutely love it. Like I'd really honestly recommend, even if it's just for 1 month, just get Apple Arcade again just to play this.
I was just looking to see if it was coming out on Switch, but I don't know if it is or not. I don't think it is.
Well, it's Apple Arcade, isn't it? Which usually means... It's exclusive, right? I mean, not always, but...
Well, no, but they usually eventually then show up on other stuff, don't they? There's been loads of things like that.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's bittersweet, because obviously it's the exact sort of thing that Apple supposedly don't really want anymore for Apple Arcade. And you sort of... Like, I'm playing like, this is incredible, but if this hadn't been as far along in development as it was, would it have been killed in... Was it April, I think, where they had this change in direction? Yeah. And like how many other games like this ended up, getting shit canned because they weren't as far along.
Yeah.
But it's fucking wonderful and definitely worth resubbing for.
It looks wonderful, and I've just looked it up, and it's got like an amazing cast. It's got Adrian Rawlins from Chernobyl, Anton Lesser, who played. Qyburn in Game of Thrones.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's got some people from Bohemian Rhapsody, Woman in White, all sorts of things.
Sorry, I've not actually looked up the cast.
So have you finished this, or is this a long game?
I haven't finished it. No, actually, I'm a good few hours in. It feels like the plot is reaching a sort of crescendo, but not entirely sure how long it is. No, but
I might have to re-up on Apple Arcade just from up. Yeah, this looks wonderful.
I would really consider it. It's I can't remember if you guys have got Apple TV, haven't you?
Yeah.
Probably if you've got a controller, probably worth playing it on that. I've played it with a DualShock controller synced to the iPad, and I've just played it with touchscreen controls. I mean, they're both fine, but it's nice not having to tap shit on the screen.
Yeah.
Like as it's just as you're moving your character around and stuff, it's a bit nicer with a controller. But I mean, either way, it's great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. That's really, really great.
I'm excited to hear what you think about it. It's really good. I mean, as I say, there's more to it, but I don't want to spoil anything, obviously. But yeah, the story is just like really good, and just like I say, loads of really good voice talent and stuff. It's just very cool.
Cool.
That is basically it from me, James. What have you got?
I've only got one game, and that's Knack 2. Which
fuck it. Right. Well, questions. Let's go.
Wow, why?
I mean, I've been playing this for this feels like one of the longest.
Is everything okay at home?
Well,
James?
that's the thing. I've been playing it with my son, and it's like, I mean, this game feels like one of the longest games of all time because I feel like I've just been playing it for like a year, like with him. It's ridiculous, and it's one of those games where it does feel like it could have finished about 4 or 5 times, like while you're playing it, and a good, like probably I'd say about a third of the game just feels like horrible filler that just goes on forever.
I've apologies to whoever it was. Someone wrote in about this the other week, didn't they? Saying like they're playing it with their kid and it just seems to keep ending, but then not really.
Yeah,
and it just
that's the thing, and it's like it keeps feeling like it's ending, and then it's just like, oh no, there's more, and then you're just like, there doesn't need to be. Like we could stop here. I'd be very happy with that. But saying that, the ending sections are really quite good, and Asher really got into it. Like he was loving it. Like by the end, like what was going on. I mean, he even asked me if there was going to be a Knack 3 at the end, and I mean, I told him it was unlikely. That was probably going to happen, and that's when he mentioned how he'd like an open world one where he can explore without having to do any fighting. And I mean, I told him that was also unlikely that was going to happen. Which is a shame, but it's one of those things where, I mean, overall it is not a bad game. It's just really dull. It's not. I mean, I had fun playing it because I was playing it with him, and that was a good experience. And like just like teaming up and like smashing stuff up. But it's not a game that I'd recommend, particularly in single player, because it just feels a bit kind of soulless and not really that great. I don't know. I said before, it feels like one of those like B grade like animated movies. It's like it's like a. I don't want to say a DreamWorks one because they have done some good ones as well, but you know what I mean? The ones that are they're not quite as good. Trolls. It's like Trolls. There you go. But I
love that we've made James watch some Pixar films for the bonus show, and then all of a sudden it's like, fucking DreamWorks. Fuck off.
Ants, get out.
I've done that now. I've watched them all. I'm well ready for that now, which is
good.
good.
I'm excited about recording.
So Mark, I can't wait to hear what you think. So yeah, I mean, I Knack 3 probably will be a thing at some point.
Nah, they're never going to bring it back. Come on.
Well, you say that, but there was no reason for the first 2 to exist. So why not a third one?
And there's no reason for a second one after how there's every chance the third one will happen.
I don't know. I think the second one sold really poorly, and I think that's probably is probably going to kill anything like that now. I don't think it's going to happen.
Poor Knack.
Incredibly sad.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all I've played. I've done nothing else. So yeah.
All right.
Wait for new consoles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, actually, James. So that new Yakuza game, you're just going to wait.
Yeah,
you're not going to get the Xbox version.
I'm going to wait because I've still got Yakuza 4 and 5 to play actually, and I really would like to finish those first before I play the next one. So
but you've already played 6. You know what happens.
Yeah, I know, but I still just want to play 4 and 5. They've been sitting there for ages, and it's like. But the trouble is like getting into one of those is a mission, and it's like I like there to be quite a big gap between each one I play because. It just feels weird otherwise.
4 and 5, were they PS3 or 4 initially?
They were PS3. Yeah, PS3.
Yeah, how have they aged?
Apparently 5 is very good. It's supposed to be one of the best ones. And 4 is also supposed to be excellent as well. So I'm looking forward to playing them. I mean, I started 4 a while ago, but then I kind of bounced off it because something else came out. So I've been waiting for the opportunity to really get into it. I'm waiting basically for the PS5 to turn up, and then I'll play it on that, probably, I think.
Right. I'm so surprised you're not jumping into this new one, though.
No, I mean, as I said, I just want to finish those ones first, and I'm really wary of that one, honestly, because of the whole turn-based thing. I'm really concerned about that.
I know what you mean, but all the reviews have been stunning, haven't they?
Yeah, I know, but I just don't like turn-based games. I really don't like them. And it's like, I'm just worried about that. We'll see how it works out.
I just, in the same position, I don't think I'd be able to hold off, but... Whatever.
Sean, you probably have, but you didn't want to mention it. But have you gone back to Destiny 2 to do stuff
literally
before they
just this
take everything
evening,
out before tomorrow's launch?
Yeah, so just this evening I've gone on it just to do a bit of housekeeping because basically, because there's loads of in-game resources and stuff that are going to be useless as of 3 a.m. So I've gone in and just sort of cleaned up my inventory.
So what have you been doing with the resources? What, selling them? Do they get changed into something else or what?
Yeah, so it's just melting them down. It's all the the resources that are specific to certain locations, i.e. the ones that are getting binned. So you sort of hand them into the vendor, get some gear out of them, and then usually the gear is not actually worth having, so you melt that down again and get other resources out of it. So just doing that stuff. I mean, it's really not necessary. In fact, I think the last time they got rid of different resources and stuff, it just automatically converted them into other shit, I think. So yeah, I mean, I'm a bit gutted. I've not finished the actual Exodus story stuff. Is it Exodus? Maybe not Exodus, but all the vendors from the planets that are going. There's a little story for each of them, and each of which culminates in them fucking off either somewhere else or on a sort of potential suicide mission. So they've all had a little sort of send off.
That's good.
It is a nice touch. It would have been really shit if the game had sort of just gone these planets are just not accessible, but if they were still sort of referenced in the rest of the game, you just couldn't get to them anymore. Whereas actually, this whole vaulting thing, I don't know how I feel about it, because obviously ultimately that is content that people have paid for, and if you're normalizing the ability to just be oh, by the way, none of that exists anymore, that's potentially shaky ground, right? But at least they have built it into the narrative, and that is quite interesting. So yeah, I'm very excited to get on the shitty last gen version, which is what I'll be playing on my Series S tomorrow. 30 frames, baby, let's go. But yeah, so yeah, nothing really to say about that. But
yeah, I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter saying I've gone back and done this, and you should do this now. But I'm like,
I think there's
now. Can I just come back in later and then everything's converted for me? Yeah,
and there's exotics and stuff that I think maybe you're not going to be able to get anymore. But if I've not bothered, I've got plenty. If there's exotics I've still not got, it's probably because I already decided it was too much effort, and I'm not going to do it now before 3 a.m. There is supposedly a little event happening at, between midnight and 3 a.m. But
yeah, I was wondering if you or James were going to live stream it again.
I don't think I will, because I mean, it wasn't supposed to be announced for one thing, and I think it got leaked. So Luke Smith tweeted it and was just look, it was just a nice idea we had. It's not a big deal. I think he said it was just something that'll be nice if you're just hanging out in the tower between midnight and 3 a.m. basically. So, I mean, if I stay up that late anyway, maybe I'll have a look, but I'm not expecting great things, especially after... I mean, that last one they did was really cool, but it didn't need to take 2 hours to unfold, right?
No.
So, yeah, probably not going to go out of my way.
I'll be fascinated to know what happens to the player base when it comes to Game Pass tomorrow.
Same. It's going to be interesting.
Destiny 2 has already been on Game Pass, but the new DLC at least.
Yeah, and obviously with the new consoles coming out and stuff. It's going to be very interesting. I think I know a couple of people who are sticking with PC, but I know a lot of people who are really excited about it. The new one being on Xbox and being quote unquote free. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
How big is this? Is it? Do you know, in terms of gigabyteage?
The download? Well, hopefully a bit smaller after they've deleted half the game. I don't know what the proposed download size is when the new stuff comes out, obviously because they're adding stuff, but they're also taking a bunch of stuff away. Mm-hmm. So don't know is the short answer. But hopefully not as much. It's not going to add to what the current size. It's going to be hopefully a bit less overall. Mm-hmm. So 80, 90 gigs, something like that.
Are you worried, James, about your 346 gigs or whatever you've got?
Exactly what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Well, I mean, until the next gen version comes out, James, you can just store it on a shitty old hard drive instead, because it won't make any difference. I mean, even when the improvements arrive, for the next gen consoles, all right, 60 frames, maybe better textures or whatever, I don't know, but the loading times are always going to suck on that game because it's all server side stuff. That's the real problem. It's not really any quicker on on PC with an SSD than it is on console.
But it is way quicker on X, isn't it? I'm sure it's like half the speed.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
It's like half the time, yeah.
I'm talking shite then.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, because loads of people have said, oh, well, how about Destiny? Because famously, loads of really bad loading times.
Yeah.
And no, apparently it's way quicker. Obviously, it's not like 5 seconds or whatever, but it's like 30 seconds instead of a minute. But still, that's a saving.
Oh, fair dues. Oh, cool. That's exciting then. Right, questions. Deviant Web. At Deviant Web on Twitter says, James mentioned before potentially playing Dark Souls 2 on his stream. Is he still thinking of doing this?
Was
that James or was that Matt?
No, I talked about it before as well. I toy with the idea sometimes, but then just think, I don't know if I can put myself through it. I don't know.
What if you both streamed it and we had like a race?
No, I don't want to do that.
No? Okay, fine.
Okay, I'm in.
Because Matt would definitely win that race, because I haven't played...
Have you seen me playing?
I know, but I haven't played Dark Souls for years, and it's like, I don't know.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not with James. It's not skill that's the issue. It's just his sheer inertia. He just didn't want to. Right. So no. Then sorry, Deviant.
Probably not. No.
I mean, I definitely will at some point.
So that's the other thing. Is I always thought I didn't want to do it because I also think it's like Dark Souls is Matt's thing. You know, it's like it feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah. It was like me with the Labo robot. It's like I feel like James has already claimed that, so I can't touch it. It's weird how we sort of manage our streaming brands as individuals, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really odd.
Because I really wanted to stream a really shit game, and I thought, nah, James has got that covered.
James, yeah. And it was like with the Bridge Crew ones, it was, you know, when that tweet took off, like the instinct was to be like, oh right, so for the next one, like I'll do it through the Elgato, we'll do it as like a proper stream with the layout, it'd be higher res, and but it's like, no, that's a James stream. That has to just be streamed from the PS4.
It has to be rubbish.
That's the rules. That's the rules. And I don't know why. I can't explain why. It's just that's James's thing, so I wouldn't want to fuck with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, MD Krabuffs says, what's the most ridiculous outfit you've ever worn?
I've got one for this, actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I mean, I was once dressed up as Santa Claus in Shanghai and walked through the street, and it was awful.
Wait, was this for a thing, or was this just because you felt like it?
Well, it was for my daughter. it was for Rachel, actually. Like as a baby, okay. I was like, not as a baby. In fact, actually, it terrified her. No, I've got a really funny video actually of her. Of me terrifying. I
mean, you say funny. Do you mean traumatizing?
Yeah, I think it was actually.
Cool.
It wasn't very good, but it was freezing cold, and you know those Santa outfits are like really like thin material anyway. And
yeah, they're never good quality, I think.
Yeah, I was walking through the street dressed like that, people staring at me. It was horrible.
I get dressing up as Santa, but why through the streets?
Well, we had to go to Chen's parents' house, and we had to walk there, and yeah. I don't know why Chen said to wear it as we were going.
Hang on.
Could you not have been Santa at home and then got changed and then gone to Chen's parents?
Were you Dad or were you Santa? Like, can I go with you guys?
No, I think what it was
can I catch a lift?
I thought it would be funny to shock Chen's mum. And turning up dressed up like that. And it had the desired effect, but it also meant that I was very cold and people stared at me.
Wait, hang on. So why were people staring? What month was this, James?
December, innit?
It was December.
Right, okay.
Oh, just surely in December, everyone's like, "Oh, it's just some prick dressed as Santa Claus. Why not?"
No, because they don't do Christmas there, like really. So it's like still weird, you know.
Fair enough.
But who did Rachel think you were when you were walking to the relatives?
Oh, she was fine with it by that point. It was when I first walked into the room, and then she just
no. But did you think it was you, or did you think it was Santa walking to the relatives' house?
She knew it was me because I was sans beard at that point. As you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it just looked really weird. Yeah, because it's like, you know what Santa Claus looks like without a beard. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's not. It's weird. It's a weird look. I feel I should just point out before anyone emails in. I am aware that different countries don't necessarily have Santa Claus. I'd assumed it was a known thing. I mean, I figured if you'd got the suit in China, it was very much a known quantity.
No, you can get anything there.
No. Okay. Fair dues. Have I talked about the time I got pulled over by the police when I was wearing a Pikachu outfit?
No.
Why not?
No.
Please do.
So I think I can say, because it wasn't his fault. I'd been to a house party with Ian Dixon, who now works at Square Enix, and and we were both wearing Pikachu. It's a fancy dress party, obviously. We were both wearing Pikachu onesies, and I'd just learned to drive. And somehow, in all of my driving lessons, no one had explained to me that if you're turning right at traffic lights, right, and there's cars coming the other way, I thought that if my light was green, I was free to go, and there wasn't necessarily. It turns out cars can come the other way. I didn't know that, and I was nearly in a crash, and police were behind me, and they thought I was pissed, and then they pulled me over, and we were both wearing Pikachu onesies, and obviously me sort of trying to explain that yes, we had been to a party, but actually I don't drink. I'm just a bad driver. Didn't really wash, and yeah,
Sean.
Yep.
Please tell me you had the big hair as well at this point.
No, sadly not. It's years after the big hair. But yeah, the best bit was the police officer said like, "Oh, I wouldn't make you get out of the car, but you look ridiculous enough as it is, so drive on."
So did you have to do a breathalyzer test?
No. I think she knew we weren't pissed. But I think that was almost more worrying because it meant I was just an idiot.
Yeah, they knew you weren't pissed. They just thought you were children.
Yeah.
I was
like, it's
clearly these guys have not had an ounce of beer.
Sort of smelled it from the next room and
anyway,
gone all
so
funny.
it's fine.
Yeah. And obviously I was like, sorry, I've only just passed my test. And she was like, yeah, but you have passed your test. That's not an excuse. Like, if you can't, it's like, oh, I'll still be a bit rubbish, you know. So yeah, that was a good story.
That's great.
Great time. What about you, Matt?
I dressed up as a bunch of grapes one Halloween.
Nice.
Because at my job at the time, it was just, there's a...
You work for Rydeen?
Yeah, everyone dressed up as fancy dress, Halloween, fancy dress. There were prizes for the best one. And I thought, I'll just go left field. So, I just dressed up as a massive bunch of grapes, spent ages sort of blowing up all these balloons, putting my grape outfit in the toilet, and then came in and surprised everyone as a bunch of grapes. And I actually won the Twitter poll for best outfit that year. So the people who really put time and effort into doing incredible sort of Dracula outfits and amazing makeup, and I just came in wearing skinny jeans, Asics trainers, and but also head to toe in purple balloons. I was
going to say, because people pick the grapes off one by one.
I mean, we also went out like after work, drinking in bars and stuff, and a lot of those balloons got popped, from
naughty
people just squeezing them. It was just quite the night, actually, Sean. It was absolutely wild. So that was probably the best. I mean, I've dressed up as loads of ridiculous things, but that's probably the one that comes to mind.
Fair dues. Nick G says, "Dear TCGS co-Codamol." That's good. I like that. My brother asked me today what console to buy his 10-year-old. He's got a Switch already, but he wants a big boy gaming machine, for FIFA and that shooty bang stuff. Honestly, I didn't know what to go with. On the one hand, the digital PS5 comes with all those great PS4 games and Astrobot, but there's a very real chance the console could crush him to death. Or the Xbox Series S with Game Pass, but as we all know, this is not a real next-gen console. Please, TCGS lads, I don't want to be solely responsible for a repeat Christmas disaster where I chose the Saturn over the PlayStation again. Says PS, that was a little joke. Only one person I knew had a Saturn, and he was a strange little lad.
Let's not slag off the Saturn, Nick, right? Let's not slag it off.
I'm the Series S.
Series S, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's still, like, I know, like, when you think, oh, well, he's only 10, he'll only want to play kids' games. Obviously, like, he'll probably be playing Call of Duty, but that's on the Xbox Series S as well.
For me, that's like, well, he can't, like, swap games with his mates, can't buy cheap games, or his parents can't buy cheap games in CX.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only thing that kind of,
Yeah, like Game Pass is amazing, but you are sort of locked into it to an extent. But then do kids still swap games? I don't know if that's the thing anymore.
Probably not.
You'll just play
they
fucking
probably don't go to
Fortnite.
CX to get a cheap game. That's probably just, built into us from...
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. So, I mean, Series S, on so many points, it seems like the best one.
Yeah, totally. Fucking loads of games on it for basically free.
It's hard to recommend. It's hard to recommend because I thought, okay, PS4, it's PS4 Pro. It's going to there's hundreds of amazing games. It's going to play games for a bit.
More years,
surely there'll be like a cross-gen stuff, but I don't know. I wonder what like 10-year-olds or 8 to 12 or 14. Basically, I wonder what kids are getting this Christmas. Like, from their parents?
See,
Are they all just getting the big PS5? Are they getting the cheaper digital-only ones or what?
I love treating Isaac to toys, right? It's the fucking best.
Oh yeah, I can't you were going to say expensive video game consoles then.
Well, no, this is what I'm leading up to. But if this was Isaac, like, no, we can have the cheaper one. Like, if you when he gets his own job, he can buy a Series X.
He gets his own paper round.
Yeah, exactly. I want him to have access to things, but I'm also not just going to throw the most expensive shit at him at all times because I don't want him to be a spoiled little shit. So I think Series S is fine for a 10-year-old.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but would you get Series S or I guess it is? And so how Series S is how much again? Sorry,
$250.
And then it's $350 for a digital PlayStation 5, isn't it? Yeah.
Series S, man.
I guess Series S, yeah.
Maria Mendieta. Sorry, go on.
Very lucky 10-year-old to get that. So yeah,
exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. Right, Maria Mendieta says, "Dear TCGS Coral." That's pretty good. I know she's
not one of your finest, Maria.
I know she's stretching it, but she's been doing this for months now. So I think it's fair enough.
Pack it in.
Matt came up with a titillating fan fiction character when he suggested that James play Ebenezer Screws in your upcoming panto. Thinking about Dickens in a whole new light, I decided to ask if you were commissioned to adapt A Christmas Carol into a groundbreaking game, which genre would you each go with? Your show is always the highlight of my week. Maria, your emails.
There's only one option.
Your emails are one of the highlights of my week because they're always really good questions. Fuck it, 2D platformer, mate.
Nah, it's got to be
let's go shitty
point and click adventure.
Yeah, I was thinking like a David Cage style.
No, that's too easy. I want like a rubbish 90s cash-in game.
No, I want a really graphically impressive game that has loads of emotion and metaphor and really incredible writing.
Can it be a first-person shooter as well? Just blasting
maybe.
Ghosts. Fuck you, Christmas present.
Yeah, A Christmas Carol adapted by David Cage. That's my
one. Pinball table.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Man, that's the one thing. I'm shite at pinball, right? I quite enjoy playing pinball tables, but I'm rubbish at them. And obviously, opportunities to actually access them are rare, especially at the moment. But I am always fascinated by people whose job it is to be like, right, let's distill Metallica into a pinball table or Terminator 2. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, how can you just do a narrative into that one thing?
Yeah, or fucking Star Wars, I love that shit. So, yeah, I want to see a Christmas Carol pinball table.
Okay, well, along the same lines, I'm going to have a Christmas Carol, but it's Res.
Okay.
It's Res VR. It's a whole level, but it's Christmas Carol. It's telling the story of that, but in VR, it's with incredible sort of... incredible music and visuals.
Could you just reskin Res
across the entire story?
Does the PC version of Res just have assets that you can just swap in and out? Because you could just fucking make...
Someone needs to make Christmas Carol VR, but in the Res engine.
Because I fucking love Christmas, but let's face it, it's looking, it's looking to be a bit of a disappointment this year for various reasons. Imagine you could just put a VR headset on and just fly through a fucking abstract interpretation of everything Christmas. Noddy holes are screaming away in the background.
And then there'll be thinking of other. Oh yeah, so is it Christmas? Yeah, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes,
but as a Beat Saber level.
How would that work? What do you mean the opening theme?
Oh, I don't know. Again, it'll try and tell the narrative. It'll be a different type of Beat Saber level.
So it'll be like an interpretive narrative thing.
It will tell the narrative. There'll be visuals in the level you can see, and bits of songs and bits of like voice. Maybe you were playing along with the voice.
Yeah, slashing the blocks in time with famous quotes.
Yeah.
No, fuck. If you're going to do National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, just the sled bit. Just make that into a game. Jesus.
Yes,
that'd be fucking amazing.
Thinking. Yeah, I think all of these would be great. Just really abstract games, but trying to tell a narrative of Christmas movies. I'm into that.
Totally. Mike, Gadget 8-Bit, says, "Evening, lads. I finally joined the next generation. No, not Xbox or PS5. I picked up an Oculus Quest 2 and I'm thoroughly loving VR. So far, I'm currently having my mind blown with Half-Life Alyx and Beat Saber, but I was wondering if you had any VR game recommendations or anything that you've enjoyed that might have fallen under the radar.
Problem is, I mean, okay, Super Hot, obviously, but that's not. I mean, it's not under the radar because everyone knows about that. The trouble is, all the best games that I played in VR. And this is going to sound terrible, but they've mostly been PSVR ones that I've really enjoyed. You know, like Blood and Truth,
yeah, but if
and like Astrobot and stuff like that.
Oh, is he right? Actual exclusives, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely, definitely Super Hot, definitely. What was that one I played? The sort of medieval combat one. Fuck. I'm gonna Google that.
Is it the one where you're a gladiator?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember what it's called. Fuck.
What else have I liked?
Poker Stars, apparently, is good.
Poker Stars VR.
PokerStars
Pistol
VR.
Whip. You've said Beat Saber. I mean, like Rez, I think that's out on PC as well.
Yep.
Tetris Effect,
Yep.
that's out on PC as well. That's amazing.
Well, that's native on the Quest, isn't it, now, as well? Tetris
Yeah.
Effect. Oh, and Rez, I think, isn't it?
What
Yeah.
else? Yeah, I mean, there are. I mean, like you've played Half-Life Alyx, which is a stunning game, which no one's going to remember when it comes to Game of the Year. Unfortunately,
I mean, it sounds like you are. Spoilers.
I mean, it's just very upsetting. Like that game came and went. I mean, it's probably because of it being on VR only, but
yeah,
that game came out this year.
Yep.
Nope. It feels like no one would even know it even existed anymore.
Well, it's just it's limited access, isn't it? Ultimately,
came and went.
We talked about Fit XR again last week. That's amazing. Really good fitness game, punching blocks as they come at you and getting healthy at the same time. It's good fun. I'm drawing a total blank, and it's partly because I can't open Steam because it'll fuck my recording up. And I've deleted the Oculus app off my phone. So I can't refresh my memory. Moss is on Steam VR.
Yeah, Moss is excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, a Robo Recall?
Oh,
like
shit.
that?
Yeah, I fucking love Robo Recall.
Excellent.
Bridge Crew, obviously.
Arizona Sunshine, if you want I mean, that sold really well. Zombie game.
I don't think I played that. It's good.
Thumper.
Holy shit. That's great in VR. Fucking terrifying, but good.
It was Gorn, by the way.
Gorn,
Sean.
thank you. Yes,
Gorn was the one you played.
Incredibly good fun. That. The Room as well. The VR one they did.
I didn't play that. Yeah,
that was great. So actually, there's loads.
There's loads. There are loads.
Yeah. Right, last one. It's from Edward Nigma. Do I have to?
Oh God!
Do I have to do the
He's
voice?
Back. Also, they're back.
I don't know if I've got
you have to do the voice.
Okay, fine. Dear cheaters.
Oh God, it goes right through you.
Well done on being able to use Google. The answer was footsteps. Very smart of you.
I still dispute that answer. I don't think that's a good answer at all. I think my answer was better.
No, it is
Question.
very poor from Edward.
Why ask for me to try harder when on the first occasion of trouble you seek out the answer? Maybe you should try harder to not fall like a house of cards. That was disappointing. Of course, it only shows what I knew all along. You are not as clever as me. That's the real quiz, isn't it, Matt? See, even I know that's an Office reference. That's your saying. You've been quiet the last couple of weeks around my messages. Out of your depth? Of course you are. In the beginning, brackets, in the beginning. Welcome back, James. It was about an apology for a spoiler. Now, I have become the spoiler of egos.
Oh, how long does this go on for? Go on.
This is why I always ask if you want me to do the voice, because it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
To the riddle.
Keep going.
I can be written, I can be spoken, I can be exposed, I can be broken. What am I?
All right, well,
Just tell me I am... Well, go on.
I just looked it up, and it's the news.
What did you do that for?
Why?
Because this is stupid, isn't it? Go on.
Yeah, it is, but we've got to enjoy the sport of it for a bit.
Why would you do that?
I don't care, that's why.
It's not. No, I was going to say, is it a promise? But you can't expose a promise.
You could.
Well, yeah, you can tell people.
That's what. It's not really. A promise isn't necessarily a matter of secrecy, is it? So I don't feel like there's.
I mean,
Wait, hang on. James has just looked it up.
Yeah.
What, is that the answer, James?
It's the news, yeah.
Oh, the news?
I'll be honest, this guy is not doing a great job anyway, because he's clearly just looking these up on the internet anyway, and then just copy them down. So I think it's fair game to then just look up the answer, to be honest. If he really wants to challenge us, then he's got to come up with his own riddle, not just copy something off the internet.
That's true. It's got, one we can't look up.
Yeah.
I mean,
one that James can't look up and spoil the fun in 2 seconds.
Are you that guy, James, who we know whenever it's like people are having a conversation where they're sort of trying to remember something and everyone's sort of having interesting guesses and talking around it, and then you just go, oh no, I've just looked it up, it was this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Hey, wait, it's just wasting time, innit, otherwise? Just like,
That's it.
Unbelievable.
That is it.
I'm so sorry, Edward. I mean, Edward, I think he has got a point.
Come up with something your own.
The more effort goes into the email than the actual riddle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because at least the email is an original composition, whereas the riddle itself is just stolen.
No, it's a shame.
So
it's a real shame.
Sorry, Ed. That's us. Do you want to do the end bit, Matt?
Yeah, Friday, there's no more Star Trek.
That's the
Crew.
point.
James, are you streaming on Friday?
Yeah, we do, man.
I don't know what I'm going to stream yet, but I will stream something. Maybe I'll stream something on Xbox, because, new in it.
Because you can now.
The ray tracing and that's going to be good.
Cool, so that's James. He'll be streaming something on Xbox maybe Friday at 9. I will be back for more Super Mario Bros. 2 Sunday at 8 p.m. Sean may do an odd lunchtime stream here and there, so if you don't want to miss them, go to twitch.tv/TCGSco and follow us, hit the bell, that sort of stuff to be notified. If you've got Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, and with that, you get 1 free subscription a month. Please go over to our channel and give us your free monthly sub. We really, really appreciate it. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS to get exclusive podcasts, live talks overs every month, and other bits and bobs. And you go to tcgs.co, which is our website where there's a store and links to all the stuff we do, all the usual bits and bobs.
Cheers. Tune in next week. Dave's going to be back, and you're going to find out what we all think about the new Xboxes. Spoiler, the loading times are good, but it's a shame there's no new games.
But quick resume is great. Yeah.
The quick resume's good, yeah.
Whisper quiet.
Whisper quiet. It certainly is. But yeah, thanks very much for listening, and for this week only, thanks for letting us be natural.
Oh, yes.
Cheers, everyone.
Good to hear. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Good night.